What a crowd! What a crowd!
I hope we have a good
Welcome.
one. Morning, folks.
Yeah,
Hi,
I hope we have a
everybody.
good one today. Yeah, it is a beautiful Thursday morning, and we are here once again for Nerd Bacon. We hope that this day finds you well. Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And it's very warm.
very warm. Yeah, it's 82 degrees here, and it is 9 a.m. 9 a.m. and we are going to have more thunderstorms today. That tends to be like clockwork, about 2:30, 3 o'clock every day. In
I tell you what,
Florida during the
I'd
summer
like it
rains.
if there was a thunderstorm here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just too warm for me.
See, I hate to be that guy, but it was 110 degrees. I finally got some help to get the other air conditioner in. We moved another window air conditioner around, crank everything up, and it drops to 60 something.
Gee.
And
And then how it
it's just-
goes. And then it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Of course,
I
it's
don't-
going to be hot, right?
I don't
Well,
mind.
you-
I don't mind this kind of weather when I'm on my holidays, but
Yeah.
not on a normal day.
And then you schedule a beach day. You schedule a beach day, and it
that is
It hits
literally
60.
what happened.
yeah,
I
there you go.
scheduled the beach day. I was going to go up
That's
to
how it works.
Lake Michigan, and 60 some odd degrees. Now, for me, I would have been fine with it, except horrendous downpour storms. It messed up my the show we were going to do for Shakespeare in the Park. Just blasted my week. So yeah, it's been a run, folks.
Been a
The,
run.
the hottest I've ever endured was when I was in Dallas, Texas. It was 116,
Yeah. Dallas is rough.
but at night it's really cold, isn't it? Because of the prairies and all that.
Yeah, well, the sand
Yeah.
doesn't hold anything. It just
Any warmth.
it
Yeah,
just
it doesn't really hold
bakes
anything.
and then freezes you.
Yeah, I think it was still in the 80s last night. Like after
Oh
after
yeah.
10 p.m. last night, it was still in the 80s here.
Yeah.
I just
yeah.
realized that Glenn's probably been through the desert on a horse with no name. At
He
this
probably-
point.
I have,
Yes,
yeah,
actually.
I have been through a desert with a horse with no name, yeah. And
Nice.
yeah, he was struggling more than I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's another story.
So,
Another time.
crazy week in comics and
Yeah.
games. Our nerd culture. We had a cancellation this week. I think an unjust cancellation, to be quite honest with you.
I literally have to ask you to be more specific. We're at the point where I have to ask you to be more specific.
So, in a new segment, we are going to. We're going to go over this week's cancellations. No, the one I'm talking about is the Robotech guy.
BattleTech.
Battletech guy,
Battletech.
yeah. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Battletech.
If you guys haven't been following this story, Blaine Lee Pardoe, who's a gentleman actually I've met a couple times. We've talked a lot. One of the best authors out there. He built most of the BattleTech lore. So, in the short version, he catches a stalker, a literal crazed stalker. Has to do legal stuff to get him off his back, restraining orders, things like that.
Yeah.
So this stalker makes up about 1,000 fake accounts, which sounds insane because he's insane.
Well, that's what stalkers are, right? That's what they do.
Posing as a sort of minorities and people of either people of color. I think my favorite one was he I believe he's a white male, but he posed as a lesbian black trauma nurse, and then said that Blaine Purdue had said all this racist stuff and all these accusations were flying, and he actually they proved it, but Catalyst Games still gave him the axe, and then they had the audacity that one of the bigwigs. I hate because I get so mad I lose details. Had the audacity to call his work drivel. This is the guy who wrote a huge chunk of the BattleTech lore. Some of the best fight scenes ever written of mech combat. complex, deep characters, amazing conflicts, really, really well written, driving stuff. And you look at BattleTech MechWarrior, this is a multi-million dollar, probably multi-billion at this point, root of a certain type of gaming, both from PC as far back and for the tabletop war gamers like myself. To have them nuke him. Now, yes, this all came shortly after he wrote a book, or around the time, that was a very, very conservative book. That spoke about the liberals in a almost 1984 style. And here's the thing, folks. I'm really big into the phrase "death of the author." Okay? And even if the work is good, I don't care. First off, and secondly, you should have the right to say and do, within reason. I'm looking, because there's always going to be pedophiles and actual dirtbags pop up. Hi, Zim. Not referring to you in any way, shape, or form. But actual dirtbags.
He said dirtbags pop up, and here comes Zim.
What?
What?
Okay.
But no, I love Zim. But and that's fine. But to cancel a guy who's been building the lore for what, 30, 40? It's between 30 and 40 years, probably longer if you're honest about it. I'd have to sit and do the math over some accusations that they found out were fake. And the head of Catalyst actually called him at home and politely apologized for what the guy said, calling his work drivel.
Pale Rider's here. Welcome, Pale Rider. If you're viewing today, please make sure to pop a hello or a hail in the chat. That way we can recognize that you're here and let everybody know that this is a community. We like to chat and talk and all that good stuff. So Pale Rider's here because I have the game BattleTech. I think a lot of us did.
A lot of great. The MechWarrior games were great. The BattleTech, classic BattleTech. I played that for years. Alpha Strike, I was one of the playtesters on. I got to be part of a playtest group for that. Here's the thing: he's not going down quietly.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling the story at all well.
Welcome,
Just
Eric.
look it up. He's showing up on show after show after show, and they want him to shut up about it. They want him to stop talking about just this happened, let it go.
Well, of course. But here's the problem. There is a culture out there that's this way. If it was, I would venture to say that if it was someone in the opposite political camp is this particular man, the cancellation probably would not have happened. And if it did happen, it probably wouldn't have stuck once the facts came out. The unfortunate thing is, here's what I'm learning about the SJW type. Now, I've got friends that are liberals. I'm not saying that, just because you're a liberal-leaning person that you're this way. There are people that will try to make you pick a side and try to lump you in that, but you don't have to be. But the SJW type, they turn on their own. Like, I'm a Chris Claremont fan, right? Obviously, we all know that. Claremont he's kind of a hard left liberal guy, but he also has he also has a tendency to make jokes that are off color and a little, he's a little arrogant. I suppose I'd be a little arrogant if I had arguably the best comic book run of all time, but some of us are biased when it comes to that. But here he is, but the comics trope guy, he tried doing a little, he kind of went at him and then tried to pretend like he didn't go at him, but even like they go after their own, if they're unhappy with them and stuff like that, and it's just ridiculous, and I think it's crazy. I saw, we've had a guest by the name of John Delarose on here a few weeks back, probably a couple months now, promoting his book that he was doing. That he was crowdfunding at the time, and since then I've heard some people talk about him and be like, oh well, if you don't like him in this particular group, then you should kick him out or whatever. It's like, well, number one, there's no leaders. Like, people on this side, they're not leaders. They're not doing all, there's none of that kind of stuff. But we don't cancel people. It's like we let the retailer, or we let the consumer decide where they're going to spend their money. And so that's how it is. If we're not trying to, just because we might disagree with the way somebody thinks or something, we're not going to cancel them. But in this case, with this, dare I say, gaming legend, you know,
absolutely. I
like,
yeah.
What it's what is the? I mean, yeah, facts. I mean, the facts are there. I mean, facts have come out that it's a stalker that's done this, and it shows that there's a. And you think this guy, this stalker, is the only one that's ever created 1,000 straw accounts, created bots to do this kind of thing? No way. No, he's not the first one to do it. He's not gonna be the last one to do it. It's just nuts. It's nutsville, man.
I can't imagine spending all that time bothering with all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well,
creating false accounts. I mean, what
It's literally insane.
Yeah.
And what I hate, it's funny because, like I said, I have liberal friends, I have conservative friends. Both sides are getting hijacked by the extremists in their side for different, agendas. And then they sit and scream to get everybody like it's a big game of Red Rover or something. Well, I'm like, hey, can we just make cool stuff and enjoy it? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's very nuts and bolts. I touch grass regularly, but the people who suffer when this kind of thing comes out is all the people who aren't getting fiction in that universe by Blaine. When you cancel somebody like Chris Claremont, I instantly mourn. Not for him. Dude has enough money and enough clout. He's fine. But for any creative thing he would have done or was working on that went fine. You know what I mean? Read between the lines.
Scottsley's here. I want to say, Scottsley does say that liberal does not equal woke. The SJWs are a whole new breed, and they really are. They really, really are. It's this wokeness and.
See, I don't understand is that how anybody's, to go on what I said before, how anybody's got the time or the inclination to bring people down. What pleasure do you get in bringing somebody down?
You don't understand.
Because it's easy, isn't it?
Glenn,
some of these people aren't thinking straight.
Well,
Glenn,
I realize that.
Glenn, that's because you have common sense and a sense of ethics.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why you can't understand it. A lot of these people find joy and happiness in tearing other people down.
Well, the root of it is jealousy.
Yeah.
Look,
That's very true, too.
Everybody here is a creator. I mean, I don't consider myself of the class of you three gents, but we are all creators.
Yeah, we're pretty good, mate.
Seriously, I mean, I'm not kidding. I really don't. I hold you guys all in extremely high.
Don't try to put yourself in a hole.
No.
But no, I'm
Just
not
carry
saying
on.
that.
We'll
But
throw
we
you a
appreciate
shovel.
it.
Thank you.
It's okay.
I'll take a ladder too if you're generous. But
Not for
we all
free.
create stuff, right? And
Yeah.
I'll always, I'm an artist. I lost my ability to art because of my hands. I've had to work back at it, and I've had people come at me and they're like, "Oh, your stuff sucks." And my response is, I don't know you, so I'm going to ask you a real question before we go any farther in this. Can you do better? Seriously, if you can do better, please, show me what I can do to improve. Or, thank you for your opinion. I'll look for it elsewhere. If you can't, why would I take criticism from somebody I wouldn't take advice from?
Yeah.
Boom. And that just dismantles them because you're supposed to be upset that they don't like you because that's their power rush. That's the addiction. The power of I'm behind my computer. I can say whatever I want, and I'm anonymous. And I bump into this. I bumped into it with guys I know who it's like, I know your tag. saying all this stuff about me or somebody in my family, blah, 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 blah. Then they want to show up the next practice. Like, well, that was said on online. That doesn't count. I'm like, don't darken my doorstep.
Well, we have a tendency over here in the press to do that with sports people. We had this has been going on forever. But we had a guy in the 60s and 70s called George Best, the soccer player. You may have heard of him.
Yes.
And he must have been, in his time, he must have been either the best player in the world or the second best player in the world. He was that good. So he comes through and is this good-looking guy, and he's really good at football. And we build him up and build him up and build him up. I say we, not me. The papers build him up and build him up, the media and all that. And he's the best thing since sliced bread. And then they start revealing his private life, and he knock him down. He likes to drink and all this kind of stuff. And then he ends up retiring at 26 because he's had enough, not of that, but of the life and all that kind of thing. But what I'm saying is the media tend to, especially the newspapers over here, tend to build people up, especially sports people, and then knock them, and then take great delight in knocking the legs from beneath them.
I don't think it's just the newspapers there. I think that's kind of a general plague on our current society.
Yeah. But I think I don't think it's our current society. I think it's always been there.
And, maybe it has.
Same with the politicians. I've said I'll get political for 10 seconds. When was it ever any good? When was it ever any good?
Right.
That's it. That's all I have to say. When was it ever
Hojo
good?
says Claremont's is on my Mount Rushmore of comic writers, and he's first. These people pose purity tests that can't pass them, that they can't pass themselves. In the end, they came for Robespierre as well. They did. That's what we're just talking about. That's what got us started on this conversation. Now, I'll tell you, there are some people that do deserve a cancellation, and but hold on, I'll have to pull up the picture. I'll have to find the picture real quick.
I have to say I have the deepest admiration for Chris Claremont because, and I'm not sure on the exact figures here, but I'm pretty sure by this point he's been paid more not to write than he has been to write.
Right. Yeah. I think, yeah. How do I get that gig?
And that's because Marvel
not work.
Marvel's that afraid, or was that afraid for him going over to DC or going over and getting other writing gigs that they paid him not to write.
You see, and that's the thing. Catalyst is all cheesed at Blaine because he's over here. He's like, fine, I've created universes before. I'm creating another one. Mm-hmm. And the fans and the people who know he's a great writer are like, fine. Battletech doesn't need my money. I hate to say this, and this is a shout out to the gaming industry. I've got one disassembled and one slightly malfunctioning 3D printer in my house. My poor self has these two things. If you're making money selling exceptionally overpriced little plastic dudes in a world where a couple $100 will get you a 3D scanner and a 3D printer, piracy is it's just gonna axe your business model. And you can't, the only thing that keeps them afloat is the lore. And they haven't figured that out yet.
Right.
Because it's gonna, you can't just poop in your living room and expect people to compliment the fragrance. I'm sorry.
That's not uncommon with any form of entertainment right now, Nicholas, because look at what Marvel and DC are doing when you want to talk about pooping on your lore.
Oh, well.
You know, and they're just making they're doing it. The people there working at it are doing it with a sense of glee that's totally irritating. What can we do to be the most what do they call it? Subvert expectations on such and such a character. Well, that's what happens now.
If you deconstruct everything, and that's what we're hitting. The comics started to figure it out, and they've been working it. The movies and the media is lagging, so they're running into the same time period that drove a lot of us out of comics.
Yes.
Let's be honest. And it's like, wow, the movies aren't doing well. Well, the source material started to slant off.
Yeah.
And my thing is, now you're at a point where if you want to do something different, now is the time to do something different and go back to writing, change the stories and go back. There's one thing that can reset. It's a comic lore. they've done it for stupid enough stuff to justify why, legacy characters haven't aged out. Why not just, okay, we've realized that those comics didn't sell. Let's change the story. Maybe in a post-pandemic world.
Let's take a look at what Claremont was commenting about that got people upset. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this or read this or not.
Yeah.
But this is Krakoa. Katrina fires out a supportive tweet. She gets a lot of positive interaction. It'll be an hour before the bigots come about. She wishes the retweets could be a shield above Krakoa. She knows it's not. They have no life experience to draw from. Seriously? They're writing about tweets? I'm sorry, tweets hurt your feelings? And because someone disagrees with you on the internet, they're a bigot? Because that's what they're going for. They're saying, oh, big bad CG's coming after them.
Honestly, I don't think in that one, because the next line is something like, because I was looking at that frame today. I saw it come across my feed, and I'm like, Luke is going to mention this. The next thought bubble is, I know it's not, but, support matters. So I will always be hesitant when one frame or one phrase is pulled out. Yeah, see, now that's...
We showed that one last week. I think. Yeah.
There is a mix of lack of life experience and lack of disconnection from reality. And that's part of why we're talking about the screen rage and stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
but there's also...
This is just straight up a lack of imagination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lack of writing ability or lack of writing talent. That's what that all comes down to. They've got people working up there now. All they can do is draw off of their personal experience.
And Claremont's a liberal, and he's like, there's not. Yeah. Where's the personal experience? They don't. Man, I just I hate to say that it's not that a young person can't write, because they can, but
when they want to.
But you got to get outside of yourself when you write.
You know what?
I pitched a really stupid and tasteless comic book idea today to the other. Brilliant. I mean, just absolutely retarded in every sense of like just completely.
And the true definition of the word. Yes.
Yeah, and the true definition of the word, not in not in any other sense.
Not in any derogatory sense whatsoever.
Yeah, not in any derogatory sense. And the fact that like this is, I've and it's like, because it started with a self-insert.
Mm-hmm. That was me. I kind of busted him out because there's a running joke about Luke and self-interest,
and that's really what you saw there in that actually in both of those panels.
Yeah,
so somebody inserting themselves into the narrative, and they shouldn't be. They should be writing entertainment.
Yeah, and if it happens, if it comes about naturally, then it does or it doesn't.
Yeah,
and it's
when I was the 90s, you remember Leanne Rimes, that little singer girl?
She's still around.
Yeah, well, she
got
came
a
out.
great story about that, by the way.
She was singing "Blue" by I want to say is it Waylon Jennings?
No, it was
Patsy
Cline. Patsy Cline, wasn't it?
Cline.
It goes way back because there's a male. Yeah. I thought it was written by a guy first, but
most of those old country songs were.
Yeah, a very, very old, rich, sorrowful country song. And I'm listening to this, and it's coming out of a 14-year-old girl who's technically singing it well, but at the back of my mind screaming like, what do you know about soul-destroying heartbreak at 14 years old? Like, did Jimmy check no on the "Do you like me? Yes, no" box in a note? I mean, I'm sorry. You
right? Yeah.
And sometimes it takes seasoning for some complexity to be addressed. And there's nothing wrong. I'm all about the youth telling their stories, and they have to do it that way. Young writers don't have enough spread to be able to sample from their experience and then collaborate.
Before we get too far and painting with that brush, I want to say that just because they're young also doesn't mean that they don't have life experience. Because
Well,
I know
that's-
some
Yeah,
people
I was
that have
gonna
gone
say,
through, they've gone
you
through
know-
hell and back.
Yeah,
at 20.
I'm always amazed. You know Bernie Taupin, who writes Elton John's lyrics.
Yes.
If you listen to his best stuff, which is what 70 to 75,
Yeah.
which makes Bernie 20 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote your song when he was 19.
Mm-hmm.
And listen to those words. And there's a guy that you would think wouldn't have that kind of experience because he's only 19. Yet he puts it on
He
the
does,
the
yeah.
words.
Well,
So
I can.
there is
Anyone who's gone through teenage and hormone rages has got that kind of experience, but they don't have that kind of talent to be able to
no,
express.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's really what it is. It's mixing talent with experience.
yeah.
And some of these modern writers and these modern contributors, they just don't have that. You know, they just.
Well, I also don't think that
Lack.
Contributors, probably a better word. Yeah,
Contri-
no,
not really
contributors is
writers.
a great word.
Just contributors.
Because if when I look, I don't remember what I was watching with my wife, and I looked and said, "You see that character? Yeah, she's just flat as a. But isn't she perfectly focus grouped to be non-offensive? Is it? And I don't remember what we were watching. It was some heroine in some movie, and I was just sitting here mentally checking off the. She's pretty but not too pretty. She's athletic but not too athletic, and I'm watching all these things go. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it. She's perfectly focus grouped, and I wish I could remember what the movie was, because what's happened is writers don't get to just sit down in that make money, and I'm writing a story, bam, 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 and telling the story. They're getting focus grouped, they're getting tweaked. There's a whole level of editing in. Well, we need this and this. And I think I really believe it started with a good intent. I truly believe it started with people trying to make the world a better place. But what happened is I am vehemently anti-censorship, anti-public censorship. I censor what I watch. I censor what my son watches because I'm a parent. But when you start getting too much of that pressure, I won't say that shouldn't be out there. I'm saying I should develop the discernment whether I want to take that in. It's just like there's some places I don't eat because it upsets my stomach. There's some food I don't eat because it upsets my stomach. I'm not saying they need to close down the restaurant because it upsets my stomach.
Because I have no willpower and can't stop eating there.
Or
So
yeah, there's that too.
So Nick, are you saying that there should be no censorship? So you're saying that everything that you can think of doing, however good or bad, should be allowed, but you don't want to watch it. Surely there are things that should not be online and on TV. Surely there must be. It's not a question of just not watching it.
No, what I'm saying is, I am very anti-censorship by an external entity, because here's the real thing. I truly believe if you put stuff out there and it's too much, the vast majority of people won't watch it. That's my. It's almost like the logic of the mental marketplace. You know what I mean?
Okay, so like
Like
pornography.
if this is a bad product, it won't sell. After a while, it won't sell. People won't buy it.
Let's use pornography for an example.
Okay.
So, do you think pornography should be made?
I think it. Why? I don't want it, but is it? What I don't think is I don't think it's my place personally to say other people can't make it.
Okay, all right.
Because
do you think pornography should be accessible to everyone?
Of consenting age. Now, see, that's one thing
Well,
I do need
that's
to.
censorship, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's
censorship.
consenting age? You've put a label on your own thing. What's
No,
consenting age?
Telling you what, 16-year-old Luke was consenting.
And again, in my mind, that's an odd way of looking at it, because there should be a level of common sense, common decency.
Yeah.
That, when you're when you
shouldn't
start
have-
getting those sexual urges,
Yeah.
then but it's such a liquid age number. You can't put a solid number on it.
And that's why
because everybody develops differently.
it falls on the people whose brains are fully developed. I mean, I hate to say it, your brain is still developing as a teenager. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
fully formed. So that's why in most civilized and educated situations, there are things teenagers can't consent to.
Yeah, but don't forget, there's some people who are 49 and the brains aren't.
And that's true. I've
very
worked.
true.
I
And
literally,
that's why
No,
we've
see,
got people that
that's
can't
a great
self-regulate.
point. Thank you, Glenn, because I've worked professionally with special needs people,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm not comfortable putting an age on it.
But here's the thing: I actually know special needs people that have more self-regulation than people that claim to be fully
Cognitive.
functioning adults,
Yeah.
completely cognitive.
I know
You
some
know.
special needs people who aren't listed as special needs people. Do you understand
Yes.
what I'm saying? Because they're just out of control or whatever.
Well, and that's part of my point. In that
Yeah.
it's so varying. I'm not comfortable with saying, bam, because the slippery slope that we have, and it happens historically, time and time again. As soon as you start saying, well, don't do this. I mean, the nice version you get is something like the Comics Code, right? Where, oh, you can't draw that, and you can't draw that, and you
But
can't
what do
draw
you?
that.
But,
The
but
not nice version is is literally things like witch hunts and the book burning and stuff. So it really has to come.
what do you do if I don't think I think that my son can watch that, but you don't, and my son is friends with your son, so your son comes to my house. So
Right.
you're gonna be banging on my door telling me
No,
what to
I'm
do
not.
in my house.
No, see,
Of
I'm
course
not.
you are. Well, you should.
No, I'm
You
You
not.
should.
You should.
You should.
No,
Because
I'll
I
say,
say, look,
I
my
don't
kid's
want
not allowed
my-
to watch that. Don't let them watch that at your house.
Yeah.
No, see,
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to that house. I'm going to say, then if you choose to do that, that is your choice. My son
No.
just won't be there.
No. Well, yeah. So my son can't be friends with your son because of your
Oh,
view.
you can be friends. You just can't go
No,
over.
no, you know what I'm saying. Listen,
Yeah,
listen,
I do. And,
listen.
and
I have the same problem in the past with vegetarians. I like meat.
Yes.
I eat meat.
I like
Yes.
it.
Right? Listen,
and-
listen,
I like
listen. When
bacon.
those
That's a
people come
clip
to
right there.
when those people come to
Bacon
when those,
beats.
oh, dude, dude,
listen. When those
they
people
come at me. I know what you're talking about. And I'll go so far. You want to hear one of my biggest dick moves in history? I was going to PNC campus.
I'm over here just like
Hey,
sipping my coffee. Like, this
yeah,
is
yeah.
good.
Sit back and enjoy this one.
I'm
You
not
don't
even
get to
talking
hear me
today.
here. This is Old Nick. Old Nick was spicy. I'm much nicer than I used to be. They were giving away free hamburgers. Okay, it's Spirit Week. They're giving away free hamburgers. Poor college student, literally living off of ramen. This is important to me. I'm eating it, and a friend of mine comes up and starts dramatically. Oh my God! I can't believe you're eating that rotten flesh, and just going on. And I eat the hamburger, and the next day there's still free hamburgers because it was Spirit Week. And I come up to her the next day. I'm sitting in the middle of class because we're waiting for the prof to come in. And he's probably high as a kite somewhere. It's one of those. I'm sitting there, and I'm eating this hamburger, and she starts in. And I'm laughing at her because she's wearing a leather coat. And I'm like, wait. But wait, now I'm eating this a big, beautiful hamburger. And I've got one hand behind my back. This hamburger was delicious. I mean, prime. I had bacon, I had cheese, as many dead animal products as I could get on this, right?
Yes.
It was delicious. I ate it. It was wonderful. It was sated. This hamburger, and I pulled the other one out from behind my back. I'm not even that hungry. I am eating it right now to make sure you don't make a difference. Your wine is the whole reason I'm going to eat it right.
Nick, you said that sounds like something I would do.
I don't want to say I'm proud of that, but it's like when I say I try to be a nice guy, I literally find myself begging people, don't be a 7-letter.
I would have just been like, look, let's make a deal. I'll keep eating them. You keep wearing them.
Yeah, listen. Just before
And
I
it's
go,
funny because that's what I said when I was done. In almost those terms.
my gripe is this. I'm just going to go. I've got my own show in a second.
Yeah.
Let me just say this. This is where I have a problem with vegetarians. If they don't want to eat meat, that's great. Whatever you want to do.
Right.
But when they come to my house, I prepare a vegetarian meal for them, or Helen does,
Right.
But when we go to their house, they give us a vegetarian meal. They should be cooking us chicken, right?
It's-
Do you understand what I mean?
I
They should be
present you the
respectful
meal
to
you
their
want.
food.
You should present me the
Yeah,
things that
exactly.
I eat.
that is an
Exactly.
interesting debate between courtesy and ethics.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a beef with eating vegetables. Wow.
Haha. Heyo. Ha.
You know,
Waka
you're
waka.
fine eating a salad. It doesn't hurt you to eat a salad, so it's not
No.
a negative.
I'm fine with it. No.
But it would greatly upset them to eat
But
meat.
why are their views more important than my views? Why is their
Well, see,
ethic
that-
more
and
important than
that's-
my
that-
ethics?
That's the thing.
Right? That's a good question there. That sounds like
That's the sliding scale, because for you to eat a vegetarian meal, you're not violating any reason. Because some people have very devout religious reasons.
I don't
People have-
like to eat vegetarian meals. There's the
But the-
violation. I'm violating my core, the core of who I am.
But
I'm
didn't
denying,
they show
I'm
us-
denying my Lukeness.
Didn't they show us that plants have scream when they're pulled out of the
They
ground
do.
and all that kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
thing? So-
We don't get it wrong. We aren't even carnivores or anything. We're necrovores. We don't eat anything that's actively living. We only eat dead stuff. And this is how I mess with people, because it's not like the plant hasn't been cut out of the ground and that we cook it on the whole planet that cooks our food.
Yeah.
We want to make sure it's good and dead, and that any viruses in it are dead.
So I watched this movie last
We
night.
are death to live. So I tell people we are necrovores, and if that's
Check-
not the most metal
Check
thing,
this out. I got to interrupt because I watched this movie last night, dude. It was called The Man from Toronto. It's
Okay.
got Woody Harrelson and Kevin Hart in it.
Okay.
And there's a Woody Harrelson is a hitman, right? Like a very special
change.
kind of like hitman kind of thing, right?
Lucky
Or
dog.
whatever. Yeah, but there's this scene where it kind of plays back to something that happens later, and he gets Kevin Hart to hit this lever, and it drops this person, this white lady, into this vat of boiling oil, right? And he's like, "Oh no, you got me to deep fry a white woman." Oh no, he goes, "But just the two of us here, though. I gotta say, that don't smell too bad, though."
Right, I'm going. Thanks very much. I'll
All
see you
right.
later. Have a good one.
But that just cracked me up. Yeah. See you,
See you,
Glenn.
Glenn.
Thanks for being here, man.
See you.
Ice Queen says trolls are just a breed I cannot understand. They really are, and they seem to live for it. Claremont wrote the most diverse superhero team of all time in the X-Men. It's absolutely ridiculous to think he isn't liberal enough. Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's there's a difference between, being liberal, diverse, and those things, and being woke. I used to be a liberal. In fact, many people in certain religious circles still would believe, like, there's a thing called progressive theology now, or progressive Christianity. Now, I would have been progressive, or I am still progressive to some people, in the sense that I believe in women being ordained in ministry, and that God's called them into leadership in the church. To a certain group of people, that's a very progressive thought. I believe it's a very grounded biblical thought, but
it's a whole lot more historical. Who was
really- I
dragging
mean-
people to church? Let's be honest.
yeah, I mean,
Those-
and it goes
those
back.
families-
Goes all the
Yeah.
way back to Esther, right?
Goes
yeah.
all the way back to
mistaken.
Esther. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we have, with not doing a Bible study this morning,
Yeah.
but quite honestly, but there's, the thing is, the bar gets moved, the scale gets moved, and that was one of the things that I heard. There was a comic book that I backed, and I backed it for no other reason, because, well, there was other reasons. I can't say for no other reason, but I backed it primarily because the creator is an African American gentleman, and his character is like, I don't know, like, I think it was Hispanic of some kind, and but he was fielding criticism because he was a black creator and he didn't have a black character, and he goes, "I'm a writer. I can create and write a story about whoever I want."
Right.
And the way he handled his critics, I liked. Now, I'm certain that he and we see differently on our political views, but I don't care about that. He wrote a story, and I backed the book, and I'm looking forward to reading it. You know, and you know, I think that's the thing. You know, it's like, you know, James Franco is going to play Castro, and they're like, well, he's not, you know, he's not Latinx or Latinx or whatever, and it's like, well, have you know, acting is professional lying. You know, if he can't lie about being Castro, then he probably shouldn't have the job, right?
I hate to say it on that one. How many people who are vaguely tan, let's be honest, in Hollywood, have been cast for different minorities?
Absolutely. In fact, the guy that's complaining about it was actually cast as, he's Hispanic, but he was cast as an Italian character in one movie. And it's like, come on, man.
Look at Gall. Oh God, I lost his name.
My favorite.
Tiger Blood. I'm winning.
Yeah.
You know who I mean?
My favorite example of that
His
is
name's
Conqueror.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah.
His name's Carlos. I mean, they had to cover it up, and most people think of him as a white guy.
Emilio Estevez, his brother.
Yeah.
Estevez.
Yeah, you know. I mean, you the other fun thing is I've had people get. I have a friend who's Spanish. Okay, literally, his Spanish said they were Spanish and got in trouble with people for cultural appropriation because they're not Hispanic, because they were very pale. It's
They keep
time.
changing they keep moving the goalpost.
Yeah,
First, you got to be brown. Then, if you're not brown enough, I mean,
what do they
it's
call
come
it?
on.
Colorism. I know. I think that's the term, colorism. You know,
Colorism, yeah, it's color.
And
I mean,
see,
you know,
I
I've
think
never had
this
to
is-
worry about that because I've always been this fun pasty shade of pale, being from the north. You know, it's always what happens to me. But Claremont, here we go. Yeah. So, Scott Slee said the SJW problem with Claremont saying, is that he doesn't worship at the altar of woke, and that does tend to be the problem. We got Earth Best Entertainment here. Hail, guys. Hail. What's up? Nice to have you here today.
Really,
You know what?
the
I
major
admire-
problem isn't the woke. It's the amount of kowtowing you do to the virtue signaling ones that consider themselves ultra woke.
Oh yeah. You realize these
everybody's
ultra woke
entitled
people.
to their opinion as long as it's their
Yes.
opinion.
You realize these ultra woke people are usually white people. I'm just gonna throw that out there in the universe. I guess I don't understand it.
I've seen
Like,
some
dude,
crazy
What?
TikTok videos by people of
Nefarious,
color.
you're right.
But-
You are absolutely right. They're Castilian or European, not Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
But the gist of it was they shouldn't be speaking Spanish, and they were speaking Spanish wrong. It's sort of like when Americans yell at British people for speaking English wrong. You know it.
Right? Yeah.
You know it's. I mean, I'll step back on that sort of thing in that.
Crazy.
But so Earth's Best Entertainment came by. I just want to applaud the sheer audacity to take that as your call sign.
Right.
Like, I'm not bashing. I genuinely, I
I
don't
was
know how
on-
you can put, if you're a gentleman,
I
how you
was
can
on
put
EB's.
pants on with the nerve.
I was
to
on
take
EB's show the other night, and he is a great
Earth-
guy.
Earth's Best, and I mean
Yeah.
that takes, you know, borrowing from the Spanish, cojones, to just drop,
Cojones.
bam. I mean,
Pedro,
I'm
speaking of
genuinely impressed.
cojones, Pedro Ang is in the chat today. Hail to the bacon. Hail chat. It's great to have you here today. Man, words sometimes are just difficult for me.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
they're just a little difficult. There's a difference between liberals and progressives. It's the progressives that are taking over and eating their own for not being left enough. They have no tolerance for criticism or for the word no, and that is absolutely true. Not only is progressivism destroying what was once the great Democratic Party, I can't even say that with a straight face. Not only
anymore.
are they destroying the Democratic Party, but they're destroying the church. They're destroying everything. It's progressivism that has created this deconstruction phase that's happened in our world today. And I'll stand by that. And if you don't like that, well, maybe I'll just pull a page out of the Progressives Handbook or the Extreme Woke's Handbook. I am not going to tolerate any disagreement.
Now, see, that's the trick. That's what, because I get in trouble on both sides real fast. It's funny because I believe what I believe, and people can tell me it's this label or that label and move the labels, but my beliefs really don't change. I'm kind of stable. And one thing that will always bug me is tolerance is not the same thing as affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Is not the same thing as agreement, and that's where I run in trouble. Because, like I was trying to explain with Glenn, I tolerate the existence of all manner of things because they're not for me or mine, But
I'm sorry, that comment, that's funny.
oh my
That's
God,
funny
a comment about Twitter, I'll take none. That's funny.
That's not just a comic about Twitter. That's an X-Man comic about Twitter.
Yeah.
From what used to be the number one book in the industry, the one that everybody chased after. Now they've got people sitting in cafes talking about Twitter.
That was the
That's
kind of
great
dribble that you would
entertainment.
find in an
Great entertainment.
independent book back in the day.
Yeah.
Like that's what you would find.
No,
there.
you'd find that in like a Slice of Life. American Splendor by
Yeah.
the
There
great
you go,
Harvey
okay.
Pekar would have a scene like that, and not in a freaking X-Men book.
No. Of course, now I
Yeah.
want to reread Strangers in Paradise because that's where my brain goes with Slice of Life, which is a really odd jump if you've read it.
Yeah.
But,
Nobody
Yeah, I
will
think-
be able to match Harvey Pekar, and they shouldn't try.
No. Yeah.
But there's a reason that X-Men had the sales that it did, and that's definitely being missed right now up at the Marvel office.
It really is, and I think part of the other reason what we're seeing with comics is that, and not just comics, I think in things in general, TV even, what Pedro says here is that they equate their lukewarm coffee to losing their family in a car fire.
yeah.
It's just not. I mean, come on.
Never has
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah, it's like you can't. It's not on the same level. It reminds me of these. It's first world problems. People talk about. It's or what I sometimes call rich people problems.
Yeah.
It's the Starbucks. The Starbucks didn't give me my, didn't have my sweet latte, whatever. Or whatever. It's like, well, dude, you're paying $5 for a coffee.
Yeah.
And see, maybe it's because I've been broke too much. And it does. I believe if you've ever been really poor, it rewires your brain. And it never unwires, because I have to catch things when I talk to my wife about stuff. $5 for a cup of coffee, I'm thinking I could go down to the bread shop where they sell the seconds and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I could get a month's $5 back, especially back in the day. I could get,
4 loaves.
Yeah, man, that's plenty of that. That's feeding your family,
Yep.
yeah.
And I mean, right now I'm pinching every penny.
Those screams.
That
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, not that I didn't before, but I'm doing even more now. And it's honestly, at the end of the day, I don't care about the arguments on Twitter. I could not possibly care less about some of this stuff. Meanwhile, they're trying to cancel Claremont and
see.
what was the other guy's name? I'm losing
Blaine Lee Pardo.
Lee Pardo. But yeah, here this guy's
Now,
running
why
a call.
isn't that guy in
He's
shape?
he's wanted for he's wanted for robbery. He's wanted for grooming. He's wanted for, I guess he's a cult leader now.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to decide whether or not they're going to put his movie out, I guess. And there's people there are morons out there advocating for this guy's movie to come out.
Oh, you know what? I think that guy's movie should come out, but I think they should completely digitally erase him. Get the goofball who did the Flash TV series, because he's a good actor. What they wrote for him isn't his fault. We gotta learn to separate sometimes good actors from bad writers and vice versa.
Yeah.
Get that guy, and I can't think of his name right now.
Grant Gustin.
Yeah, I knew it was Grant, but I couldn't not say Lankard because he's a guy I know through Yeah,
He's in the
you know,
chat.
Beowulf.
There was a lot
But,
being said about
you
censorship
get
earlier.
Brad up there and literally just digitally wipe out the other guy, put him in,
Right.
put
Yep.
the movie out. You
Yep.
know,
Yep.
oh, I don't know what's going on with WB. You know, they canceled the Batgirl movie. I'm still not sure what all happened there. That's interesting.
It was bad. It was bad. That's what it was.
But
So
then they canceled
what's his
also
name?
the
It,
Scooby-Doo.
it had two test screenings. Both test screenings were terrible. I mean,
Yeah.
really bad marks.
And,
And
so
then
they
they
would
showed
rather
it.
lose $100,000 than
They showed it to Zaslav, and
Mhm.
from what I understand, they got into the movie to the scene where Michael Keaton's Batman dies violently, and Zaslav decided at that second that the thing was going on the shelf and nobody was ever going to see it again.
Yeah.
Period. Because that's not how, in his mind, that's and in normal common business sense, that's not how you treat your brand.
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes down to with him is the money, and the money in the longer run than what these people up there, I'm using people nicely, consider their art to be.
Right.
Because
right.
there are so many people out there now in the movies, in the comics, that are tearing these brands down. Deconstructing is not exactly the word. Disintegrating is more the word. They're intentionally going through and destroying these brands, and they need to stop, because in just simple business mind, those brands make money.
And that's what's going to catch. Because I didn't know that they killed off Batman.
That's what I heard from
And
a
if
couple
that's
of
the
different
case,
sources.
See, if DC has any arc between their two rotating brain cells, they've heard everyone go, you know what? Bring back Michael Keaton as Old Man Bruce, do a Batman Beyond movie.
Yeah.
And if they had done that, they would have canonically prevented that from happening.
Well, they need to bring Michael Keaton back as Joker. That's what they really need to do. And that's close to $1 billion in sales right there. Doesn't matter who plays Batman. Bring Michael Keaton in as Joker, and you're going to make hard money.
No. Can we just drop Joker already? I'm sorry.
Again, that's another brand that they've gone through and deconstructed and destroyed and tore apart, and they think they're doing it for art, and they're not. All the Joker movie, the latest Joker movie is a Taxi Driver with clown makeup,
and it's great. I enjoyed that.
Oh, I'm not saying it's
not really Joker. It's not really
Joker. It's
Joker.
not the Joker at all.
But Joaquin Phoenix, man, that dude brought it, man. He brought it in that movie.
He is Joaquin Phoenix is the canonical, the non-canonical Joker in my mind. If that makes sense, he's the best. The best live-action Joker is got to be Heath Ledger, but the role killed him.
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to match his level of acting. He literally drove himself insane to play a crazy person.
Yeah.
You can't reach that. It needs to be
when you try to think that way to play that character, he did a great job, right?
Right.
But he required medication to sleep.
Yeah.
Afterwards, because it jacked with him so bad, right?
Yeah.
And it was that medication because the doctor prescribed it wrong. Same thing that happened with Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened with Prince. the doctor prescribed it wrong, and it caused him to stop breathing in his sleep.
Fentanyl is incredibly dangerous.
It is.
And it's
it scared me that I was on fentanyl patches.
Hey, same here.
Yeah.
I was on fentanyl when I was under, but
what I would love to see just once in my life, if they have to do a live action Joker, before he dies, and they could do him as Old Man Joker, which would be neat. Get Mark freaking Hamill, because his animated Joker, if you have not watched it, you're missing out. Batman the Animated Series, his version of Joker, all the way through that, him and Kevin Conroy were just amazing, and
they were great
because it's voice acting. They don't get the credit they deserve, and that is balderdash.
And let me say that those two who did the voice acting, and that voice acting is still acting. Trust me, I believe that very much, wholeheartedly. Those two are a perfect example of people that I enjoy their art, but maybe don't disagree with them entirely 100%. Mark Hamill's gone way left, kind of crazy woke, right? But I still enjoy his art, right?
I think he got drove insane when he had to do the Last Jedi.
Yeah,
really
well, yeah, I
'Cause
think
you can see it in his face while he's acting.
yeah,
When he's
not-
drinking
he was
that
unhappy with
when he's
that,
drinking that green milk, you can just see it in his eyes.
yeah, he was just unhappy.
He's losing it right there.
And then, but then, the Batman voice actor,
Kevin
he's
Conroy.
Kevin Conroy, great actor.
Yeah.
I'm not homosexual, but I hear he is, and you know what? I just learned that I just learned that this year.
I just
I
learned
only-
that this
the thing was-
now, and I
I only
wanna
learned
make
that this
it
year.
clear,
The thing with
I don't
Conroy
give
though is
a
that he
rat's ass.
I don't
Yeah.
care. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
He
mean,
was the
and I
best
don't
Batman
screw up,
voice.
I want-
And
he
the
is
thing with
the
Conroy
Batman.
is that he looks like Bruce Wayne.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
It is tragic that he was
physically
never
act
live
that
action
part.
cast.
You get that
Yeah.
guy, put on some muscle for that guy,
Yeah.
and put him in the suit, man.
Yep.
Put him in a suit, and I don't care because here's the thing: nobody cares. There
No.
used to be a day when no one cared about your politics, or cared about your sexuality, or cared about, and like what who was it up here that said something about? I'll try to find the comment about The Rock.
Basically,
Someone
whatever
says-
you did in the privacy of your own home was your
Yeah.
business. How you
Yeah.
thought was your business.
Oh,
You know?
it's on the screen. Eric Hawkins.
Yeah.
Remember
I
when The
have a
Rock was
theory
told
about-
he wasn't black enough to play John Henry?
You know,
Man.
I have a theory about all this, and I the more I watch it, the more I think about it. We reached a point where American history always has some group that are the minorities who are abused. They take it totally unjustly to keep a certain part of the economy afloat, right? I mean, it's not right, but it's what happens. It's the way we treat black people, especially in the South. It's the way we treated Italian immigrants. It's the way we treated Irish immigrants. It's the way we treat Hispanic immigrants. And we always have these people that are considered, they're the deviant, horrible people. And I just wonder who fosters that, who keeps that going. And I really believe that is in place to keep us fighting so that we don't notice the difference between what normal people, I can't even say middle class because the normal people aren't
Right.
middle class anymore, and these insane rich people.
Right.
And we're not complaining about that. We're not complaining that our taxes are going to BS and those people aren't paying taxes and our roads are crud and all this. No. We're yelling it because so and so likes guys and they're a guy.
Yeah.
Or
But,
whatever.
and the other thing they've got us like killing ourselves and going in debt to live a perceived lifestyle, because now
Yeah.
nobody exists in real life. Everybody exists in the little black mirror.
Consume.
Yeah, that's so
consume.
true. Yeah.
Obey. Wait.
We are our profiles, and we are whatever we present in our profiles. I'm one of very few people that goes by their real name and presents their real life on social media.
Hi. I think that's all three of us right here, oddly enough.
Yeah.
And isn't it funny because we're the
Frog G, I'm not trying to call you out on that either. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, and I have no problem with the people who go by handles.
But here's the
don't.
thing: with the way things are today and the way people are, I totally get it.
Oh yeah.
If I were emerging right now, and if I knew then what I know now, I may have been an avatar.
Oh yeah.
I may not have never used my real name, and put myself out there because of just how crazy it is.
Yeah.
But Neff has a great idea. He says, put out Flash, put out Batgirl. That way all the bad ideas can settle in the mark.
Well, in Zaslav's mind, if Batgirl had fortified the brand and looked like it was going to make any money whatsoever, he'd have done it. But it wasn't a matter of it being as bad as, is the company going to make money releasing this thing? Is it going to fortify the brand?
No.
Or can I take that whole 70 to 90 million and be able to write that off of this big amount of lost debt that I'm taking on from Warner Brothers and put it against that debt as a tax write-off? Oh, it's kind of, and seeing the movie as a piece of crap, not because of who's in it, but because of the movie is a piece of crap, that you've done 2 screenings and the people have told you this movie is a piece of crap, I'd rather take the 70 million loss
Right.
and make that write-off.
Can I ask the question?
Flash, it's
Yeah.
probably too late from the way the tax structure, from what I've been
It's
told.
too
It's
late,
too
yeah.
late for them to take that as a loss because it was done before the merger started.
I
But
can see
is-
from a business sense. I mean,
this
if
It's
the
gonna have to
movie
do
is
something with it.
situation?
if the movie is good, because their whole new phase was that's their key movie that starts this new phase,
Oh,
right?
Well, thankfully, they've killed everything else that was supposed to spawn off of that phase. Now they're going to retool the movie to make it bankable because
Yeah.
they're stuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're in
Oh.
too deep on that movie that they can't shelve it.
Frog G says, I'm convinced that DC only has 2 brain cells and they are both fighting for 3rd place.
Well, I think you're seeing that change around with Zaslav's
I think so.
decision.
Could this
As long
be
as
a
you
mo-
look at them as business decisions instead of what the progressives out there are saying, oh, he's a racist bigot, whatever. That's just ridiculous. He's a businessman and he's making money decisions that people don't like because a lot of those products are substandard.
Look at what happened with Universal's Dark Universe reboot. They did The Mummy, and it tanked largely because everybody thought they were trying to replace the original Brendan Fraser Mummy.
Yeah.
And it tanked so bad that the 4 or 5 movies they had planned to go off of it, they were going to have a Jekyll and Hyde. They were going to. If you watch that movie, it's not as bad as people like bandied it around, but they laid the groundwork for a Wolfman movie, a whole bunch of movies.
Yeah.
Reboot the Universal monsters essentially,
Which would have been awesome.
and that movie tanked so bad they went, "Oh, okay, we can't." That parallels with what happened with Batgirl. If it's not a producer's thing where they didn't set out and make a movie that's so bad that they make more money off of essentially bad movie insurance to for canceling it. DC's in a weird place now because people are gunning for them.
Well, yeah, they're watching out for it because they have an excuse whenever he makes a business decision. Obviously, he's doing it because he's an ist and a phobe.
Right, of course. Ist and phobes.
Yeah.
I like what Nefarious said. So Nefarious is sitting here to talk about how Prey came out, okay? So Prey's this new Predator movie, and I'm hearing people say, oh, it's so great and it's amazing, right? I have not seen it yet. I'm probably going to watch it. My son says he's going to watch it. But here's the deal. Without having sight unseen, they're telling me that a predator goes to prehistoric humans, and a prehistoric human with a stick and a string is able to beat a predator. That's what they're telling me. And not only that,
No. That's not the whole thing. It's a female with a stick and a string.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Never mind in prehistoric humans
Yeah.
that the females were not the hunters.
Mm-hmm.
That was the job of the men. We know that because we have prehistorical evidence we found of that. So never mind that. That's okay. But somebody that I trust their opinion said they marry suitor.
Yeah.
That everything is, and the only way for a prehistoric human to beat a predator, in my opinion, would have to be to marry sue the crap out of him. Whether it's a man or a woman, I don't care. My point is a prehistoric human is able to beat a predator with a stick and a string. We're not even talking about compound bows like what we have now. We're talking about a stick and a freaking string. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
I'm going to have to watch that movie just to see how bad it is.
See,
Yeah,
that's the thing.
that's it.
I will hold off what I have to say about it until I've seen it. Because
Welcome, Sugar Chris.
unfortunately,
Hell, sugar.
a lot of times the ads can get spun, and when you take a movie and you edit it down to an ad, you can make any movie look like anything, especially when you change the music apply. One of the this is outlandish, but somebody took the start of the fight scene between Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
I want to say in Enter the Dragon, right?
Yeah.
And they cut out the
Put in
music,
Kenny G.
and and they put in Kenny G, so suddenly it's the most uncomfortably romantic looking thing. You know,
It's about to go down, literally.
yeah, you know, or it's like that somebody else took a whole bunch of the
Yeah.
face-to-face hardcore like Rocky movies, and then they just digitally added the one guy's hand touching the other guy's cheek,
Yeah.
and it
Well, you know,
totally
here's-
takes, you know.
I'm going to watch it because I want to watch it. I don't allow other people to tell me what to like and what not to like.
Exactly.
Like,
And that's
I
what
like
you
The
do.
Last Jedi. I don't freaking care. Or what? No, The Rise of Skywalker. That's the one I like.
Rise of Skywalker.
I liked it.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, "Oh, that's a terrible movie. All it does is give you fan service." Well, yeah. Yeah,
That's how
guess
you-
who has
that's
the
how
money?
You make, that's how you make money. Yeah.
The fan has the
Nostalgia
money.
is a hell of a drug. I say it all the time.
Yeah,
And that's the
make me
problem
feel
is,
something.
and I
Right,
think
right.
that's part of the systemic issue we have right now with every IP we've discussed today, and almost all the ones we talk about. Because I do want to get into what our original plan for today was, because I realized something important. But is they're not making anything new. They're just it's cheaper to produce nostalgia than to figure out the next great story.
It's not even that. They're not doing nostalgia at all. They're tearing down the old icons. Is what.
Well,
It is, yeah.
it-
And speaking
it's
of
deliberate.
old
It's
icons,
forced.
It's deliberate.
this is a perfect segue.
Yes.
Perfect segue to what we're talking about today.
Yes.
So we talked about Claremont getting canceled. Talked about all these icons they're trying to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Now there are some comic book characters that were created in 1990 and post, right? Now as we're looking through some of the lists, we're talking about the best ones. As we're looking through the list, you know, there's not a lot of them that aren't already based off of a legacy character.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Morales, great character. I still like him.
See, and it's funny we get into that, because do you want to do the list and I'll say what my chunk sitting at the end is, or how do you want, or do you want?
Well,
to
we'll just talk generally about them. We're
Okay,
not going to do a
doing
list today. We're not going to do
Okay.
a list today because the list is so janky.
Yeah, I looked through the list too, because we were reviewing it, and you know, about half the characters were just drivel. Let's be honest; they were very poorly
They're bad.
written. There's no content. One or two great characters. Yeah, we're looking at Deadpool. We're looking at, and those are the breakouts.
Yep. Gambit.
Gambit.
Seriously though, would there have been a Deadpool if there wasn't an ambush bug?
No, there
No.
wouldn't have been. Well, they did the same thing. Whether it's concurrent evolution, or they because there's always the gap that they literally didn't know about.
And Deadpool wasn't Deadpool when he was first created.
No, he was knockoff Deathstroke.
Yes.
He was a bootleg copy, like they always do, of going back and forth. I think they actually had in Deadpool Kills Everything, the one of the
Welcome past Master
multiversal.
Dan.
Yeah.
Welcome, buddy.
If you have it,
Has a
That's
billion to burn through. He's got $3 billion to make up for, because that's the amount of loss that he took when he acquired Warner Brothers.
right?
It was close to $3 billion. So he's making cuts and trimming in order to try to cut his. He's got to stop the bleeding first before he can heal the company, and that's
Yes,
what
yes, he
he's
does.
still in the stop the bleeding phase.
Yeah.
Are you the comic book's most interesting man? Because some of the
Yes.
comments you've been throwing have been
He
just
is, yeah.
gold. I mean, like
Who, me? Yeah.
No. Past Master Dan.
Oh,
I can
past
kill
Master
Victor
Man.
Von Doom with the blueberry.
Yeah.
I believe you can. Yeah. Past Master Dan is legendary. Legend in his own mind.
Hey, you know what? I respect that, but
I
he's
tease.
the
I tease.
master of the
Dan,
past.
I tease.
Again, there's another great title right there.
Oh, man.
I'm
He's
not-
killing it
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
pretty
even
much
reading
past
that
Master
one
Dan.
out loud.
You're right.
though.
Yep.
Hold,
Yeah.
hold on. I'm wearing too much red for this conversation. I don't want any No, anyway, no, because I looked through that list, right, and then after I looked through this list of a few neat characters and mostly missed characters because they didn't want to invest the time, I remembered something really neat.
Well,
I remembered that Top Cow Comics was released in 1992.
yes.
So all of a sudden, I went from, well, yeah, there haven't been, to, oh wait, we got Witchblade, we got the comic version of Tomb Raider,
Mm-hmm.
we've got The Darkness, we've got
Yep.
Fathom, we've got Aphrodite 9. I mean,
There
There
is
there's
a lot more great
as soon-
characters that were released.
As soon as you
And what we
step out of
realize.
the main line, because Gen 13 came out, that, you know, as soon as you go from the big two to the next tier, where you get things like Image and Top Cow, suddenly the 90s, and that's where a lot of my comic time was spent, gets a lot more interesting and a lot more aesthetically pleasing, and you get things like Battle Chasers and some of the Japanese that they didn't start in, you know, these characters have been around in Japan for years, but they got ported over, like the I want to say Image did a variant of the Darkstalkers line that was phenomenal.
You know, I lied. I said I wasn't going to show one of the lists,
The
but I
li-
do want to show one of these lists because it is.
Is this a list of 90s characters that you
No,
found?
this is. Yeah, this is. We'll talk about other great '90s characters, but this is the 10 best new DC characters of the 21st century.
Because
And
I can talk for an hour on why we should not be worshiping Top Cow. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that here in a second.
No,
Well,
we don't
just-
have to.
Actually, just
It's-
give us
it's
5
okay.
minutes on why we should not worship Top Cow. Go and give us 5 minutes of it. Not
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, go for it.
I can give you the shorthand version of it.
Do
Top
it.
Cow was responsible for destroying the direct market because
Mm.
they were the company, they were the ones to pull away from Capital City distributors and become exclusive with Diamond. They were the first ones, the straw that broke the camel's back, that
there you go.
decided that Diamond needed to be the distributor here in the direct market, completely destroyed the independent market, thanks to Diamond's insistence on their exclusives.
That-
And they destroyed Capital City distributors when they pulled out because Marvel and DC was already gone. And Marvel at the time was distributing themselves. DC had signed on with Diamond. Diamond went around to all these people screaming the sky was falling. The first one to jump, exclusive to Diamond, was Top Cow.
Yeah.
And it completely destroyed the myriad, well, not myriad, let's say 24 independent distributors that were out there that was moving a lot of comic product. Then it narrowed it down to Marvel, DC, Image. Boom. So yeah, I'm not. Some of their properties, absolutely. Michael Turner, bless his heart, you know,
Yeah.
a phenomenal. They had some phenomenal talent, but they're executives, and they're people working at the offices. Whole different story.
And that's the
Hey,
thing.
what's up, man?
I hate to say it, but I was a fan.
Capital City.
And back, you know, there used to be a time where you could read comics or watch movies and not give a rat's derriere about what the corporate side of it was, what the other stuff
Yeah.
was. What happened was I looked at comics back then as a kid, and now the first comic I followed was Green Arrow. That tells you I wasn't, you know, online with, you know, the big guys even then, because Green Arrow was kind of a side title. But you know,
No. Green Arrow was a major icon that they've watered down and destroyed. When Mike Grell was handling it, the sales on that title were phenomenal.
right?
Yes.
Longbow Hunters is classic.
Oh yes, and I agree. But you can understand what I'm saying when
Mhm.
I didn't walk that, and I read a lot of things like the comic version of Invaders from Mars and all this other stuff, because I realized I'm not the biggest superhero fan. Shock, gasp, horror. Even on the show, the superheroes I watch, I like because there's an aspect other than the tights and capes crowd, you know. And
Now,
I hit Top Cow and I hit Image, and they were new characters that I didn't know about from the animation. The art was vastly superior to a lot of the stuff that was going on, and the stories were actually, there was something other than, hi, super guy does bad things. other super guy shows up, punch, punch, go. Because
But I do
that's
like
what was-
that premise. I do like that. I like punch, punch, go.
right.
And seriously,
But
that's what
sometimes
superheroes were around for.
Yeah.
You know, that's why they were made. They're really an offspring of the old pulp hero
Yes.
character, only with spandex and colorful costumes, because that's what sells comics.
All right. So let's look at this list of
Is this only 7?
No,
Well,
he just hit.
There's top 10, isn't there? Okay.
Yeah, he just skipped the first 3 because they're not terribly good.
Who were the
Or
first
he
3?
this is just where it goes. Here, let's go. Let's look at it.
You
I have
know
to
what?
go
I sent
backwards.
that link. See,
Alright.
it's a shame. The Court of Owls was amazing, and it added a new
So-
dimension to Batman's.
Let's look at this list.
Where
Yeah.
are you pulling this from?
This is
Oh.
from whatculture.com. So let's look
Okay,
at this.
I'm not familiar with the site.
Yeah, me neither. Nick found this for me.
Okay.
So let's
Okay.
look at this list and let's see how many of them are actually based on legacy characters.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
use a legacy character to introduce this new character, right? So Blue Beetle is new, and I agree. I like Blue Beetle. I think Blue Beetle's a cool character, right? I like them. So
Well, wait. No, he's not new.
Blue Beetle.
introduced in 2006.
That version is
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hayden
right.
took over for Ted Kord,
That's right, Jimmy Reyes.
and he was
He
a
could have
very
been-
different Blue Beetle.
He could have been Scarlet Scarab.
Yeah,
and be just as popular, though. They decided to revamp the name because they needed some secure on the copyright.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why they did it, because the Ted Kord Blue Beetle was in question,
Well, it
because
could be
the golden
Scarlet
age
Scarab.
of Blue
Scarlet
Beetle is
Scarab
in public domain.
Yeah. Well, Scarlet Scarab is Marvel,
Well,
Yeah.
okay. I just
Yeah.
use that as a quick example.
but true. Yeah. All right. Okay, so he's not a new character.
No.
So they're using a legacy character to introduce a new character. Miss Martian.
She's new, but she's a
Martian Manhunter. She's a derivative of a legacy character.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the
Let's
people
look.
that created Ms. Marvel or Miss Martian probably don't get a full royalty because John Jones was around before that, or was what she was based off of. Same thing with Zoom. Yeah.
Yeah, Zoom. Okay.
Reverse
Another-
Flash.
A derivative. He's a derivative of a legacy character.
Yeah.
Okay. Court of Owls, original.
yeah,
that is
and-
original. That's good.
Well, you've always had secret societies out there.
yeah, but I mean,
And there were plenty of owls in comics, even in public domain. Owlman's in public domain.
Yeah,
Owlgirl
but-
is in public domain.
But the Court of Owls, their take on it, that is unique.
It's a
It's
secret
not
society.
based on.
Sons of the Serpent from
Yeah.
Marvel was out long
Yeah.
before that.
But
Yes.
but it's not based on a legacy character.
No.
But it's not even a character. It's a whole society here.
Right.
So okay, Wallace West, based on a legacy character.
That's actually a Silver Age character that they went and race swapped.
Yep.
Aqualad, based on a legacy character.
Silver Age character that they race swapped.
Yep.
Though in Young Justice, he's his
Batwoman.
own unique character that's incredibly done.
Yeah. Batwoman.
yes, Young
know.
Justice was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Batwoman, based on a legacy character.
Yep.
Superboy, tied to a legacy character.
Originally created by Joe Siegel.
Yep.
Yep.
Jessica Cruz and Simon Baz. So here's the deal. Again, tied to a legacy character.
Green Lanterns. Yeah.
Green Lanterns. Yeah, the Green Lanterns.
Yep.
So,
Who
Yep.
Julie Schwartz took the old name and added Lensman.
isn't that EVS's art
And they
right there?
became oh, I'm sure it is. He created that character.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Jessica
that's
Cruz.
EVS.
I love the
And again, his royalties are skewed too because she's a Green Lantern.
Yep. Robin, Damian Wayne.
now legacy
legacy
character, but
character.
an interesting take on a legacy character.
True,
Yeah.
true.
You gotta give Damian Wayne's Robin is a little different.
Who wrote
So-
that? Chuck Dixon. Who wrote Damon
Hold on,
initially?
let's
Who's the
find
big
out.
writer? Who's the character creation?
Might have been
credited to?
Dixon. Might have been Dixon. Hold on, let's find out.
I just said that because I know that he wrote a lot of Batman material, so I could be very wrong on that.
They're talking Peter.
They're talking
Tomasi.
Peter Tomasi's. Well, no. Anyway,
No,
Yeah.
I don't think
No,
so.
I'm just
huh?
Yeah, I don't think so. There's not really.
Well, give me a second.
But
Was that the one that was dead? No, they killed Jason Todd, didn't they?
Yeah.
And brought him
That-
back. Yeah.
Damian Wayne was the unknown child of Bruce
Talia.
Talia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Here's a question. Scottsley asked, why are they all derivatives? I'm gonna tell you why DC has all derivatives. Because they don't have any fresh ideas or anybody fresh working there. All they can do is reboot. And their idea of a new character is to create a new character and tie him to a legacy character.
Well,
Because
that's
they
not
think that's the only way
necessarily
they'll sell.
true either.
Grant Morrison.
Grant Morrison.
And Andy Kubert are credited.
The reason you see all of these derivatives, especially right now, that are coming up, that are being gender race swapped or whatever, the upfront reason that they'll tell you is diversity, but that's not really the true reason. The true reason is copyright protection. They're coming up with all of these different versions so that the original people who created these, because they're finding, and all it takes is a little push that these big companies, Marvel and DC, try to keep from happening constantly. That work for hire contract needs to go under a microscope through the courts, because they're going to find out that it's not going to hold up, and they know it. The corporations know it, and everybody that signed their check back in those days signed a basic work for hire release on the back of that check.
Mm-hmm.
And that work for hire release is really questionable legally, and if it really gets pushed, it's probably going to fall apart. So all of these companies now have to come up with different versions of these characters, just in case those original versions become unusable because somebody ends up claiming the creators come back and want creators' rights for them. But also the way the royalty schedules are working and how little royalties are out there. Anybody who is of a creative mind, who wants to do an original character, is going to go and do that in crowdfunding unless they intentionally want that character placed in a particular universe, because that's where they're going to, anybody who does any research or look into the market, that's where you're going to make the majority of the money. You might not sell as many copies as you would working for the two corporate companies, or even three corporate companies if you count, or four if you count Dark Horse, but you're going to make you'll have more control over your creativity, and you'll have more control over the property in general if you take it and own it completely yourself.
Right.
So you saw a mass migration when you should have seen this huge influx of creative characters and talent back in the 90s and 2000s. That's why we're getting all these derivative characters.
Yeah.
It's because it's so much easier just to create a new Green Lantern than it is to actually do something original that these companies are going to take and literally rape you of, and then say they own the copyright to, and then take it and screw it over.
Yeah. Like what Hojo says, a Sentry is a really cool. Is a really cool new non-legacy character. Turns out that he's like a mutant, but or like he's the first superpowered character.
Yeah.
And
Sentry?
he's just been in the back. Yeah. He's the newest one that's been created, but he's supposed to be the oldest one that's just been sitting in the background just watching things happen, which is kind of a cool concept. I like it.
I'm surprised there's not more with him, because the Sentry's basically Marvel's answer to Superman, isn't it?
Kind of, yeah.
And
I suppose. I mean,
It's going to turn out to be unnecessary because they now own Miracle Man,
Yeah.
which they're probably going to switch back to his original name, which was Marvel Man.
Yeah. Lady
You'll
Blaze.
see more of that here in the next decade or so, as they finally settled through all of their
Cable.
entanglements.
Cable was
Who owns
created in
what?
1990.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
now there's a neat character, but most of these are fairly Danny the Street. Sorry.
Pretty forgettable, yeah.
There's a
Deathlock
character
was
who
cool.
gets not appreciated or used right. Deathlock is such a good
Deathlock was
character.
cool, yeah. I like
right.
Deathlock. Death Watch.
Delirium of the Endless.
She'll be in probably second season of Sandman.
Probably. Everyone's talking about Sandman, and like, here's the deal. I got an unpopular opinion. I'm not a Neil Gaiman fan. I have never really liked anything that he's written. His style doesn't speak to me. I just don't enjoy his work, so I didn't
Okay.
watch Sandman. I didn't read Sandman. I don't want to watch Sandman. I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care that it was woke before and that it's double woke now. It just doesn't speak to me in any sense, and so I'm like, I just don't care.
And like none of the, you might as well keep going to somebody worth.
Yeah, it's like a lot of these characters. Echo, good honorable mention there. DC.
Yeah.
Echo's pretty good.
That's the DC Echo,
DC Echo.
not the Marvel
Oh,
Echo.
not the Marvel. Forearm.
And his sidekick forewarned.
You know what? I know nothing about this character. I do think Rob Liefeld gets some real crud sometimes. He doesn't always deserve on his character designs. But that looks like a fun mutant. I mean, I hate to say it, it's a good pun. It looks like a fun mutant. I'd like to know what his jam is. You know?
Well, his jam is he's got 4 arms.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know about that.
And Gambit, yes.
Gambit.
Yes.
One of the best teams ever, Chris Claremont and Jim Lee.
An interesting accidental character. Originally supposed to be Warlock.
Yes.
Or not Warlock, I'm sorry, Longshot.
Yes.
And they couldn't put Art Adams was late getting the Longshot miniseries together, so they turned his little blades into cards, switched the costume around with a little bit of extra black in the costume. Called him.
Cyborg Superman.
That was a quick makeover on that book. His first appearance.
Sir Timothy Hunter. I'm trying to find. I've not seen anything of note here. Legion.
And that's the DC Legion, not the Marvel Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marvel Legion was cool.
Yeah.
Wild
character.
Side.
Wait.
Zero. Yeah, we're gonna make this guy's gonna be all white and he's gonna have a 0 on his face and 0 on his chest.
And see how many of these characters are used today. That's an interesting
Ball.
contrast.
Yeah.
8-Ball. I mean,
Eight
there's
Ball.
a kid. How could we go our life without not having 8-Ball merch everywhere? I mean, a guy with a giant 8-Ball head. But at the same time, that's what makes comics great. Because if you're going to double down,
Look at those arms, man.
Ajax.
Look at those arms.
And
Dale
I remember
Keown.
that character. Yeah.
Dale Keown did this one. And I'll tell you what, Dale Keown, he's a CG guy now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did the character design for Gemshock, which some people have a lot of criticism for that
Yeah.
character design, but for whatever word, it's selling. It's selling.
Yes.
Scottsley said that they are a huge Neil Gaiman fan. Sandman show is all right, but they really didn't need to make every character gay. It's pretty overdone.
Amen.
Yeah.
Dead
Yeah.
on.
And here's the
Dead
thing:
on.
if you like Neil Gaiman, that's fine. You like art is subjective, and you can like whoever you like. You can dislike whoever you dislike. And here's the thing: just because I don't care for his work, doesn't mean I dislike him. Because of his work, it's not like I can still respect and appreciate what he's contributed.
Yeah.
To the industry. If I dislike him, it's probably for an unrelated reason.
But Scottsley there is dead on. That's something that I noticed watching Sandman, and that crossed my mind. Why is every character on here gay?
Everybody's gay.
It's not that 10, 20%, that rides with the actual population. But
Mark
every
Silvestri
character on that show.
did so much in the 90s.
Yeah.
Bishop.
Oh, Bishop.
Very interesting character.
Yes, Bishop. Yeah. Very cool character.
You want to talk messing with time,
Yeah.
like time travel stories in an interesting way. Bishop and Cable really.
Very
X-Men did some neat stuff with time travel, which is usually horribly handled.
Well, some say they were horribly handled, but
Bloody Mary.
another
That's not
story for
original.
another time. There was a lot of potential there in both of those characters.
Well,
Another Rob Liefeld offering there.
Yeah.
Rob
Rob created a ton of
now
characters.
wait, because
during
He
this
did.
period.
Very.
Can
Many of them
we
were not
stop
very
for
inspired.
just a second, going back
Sure.
up because
Sure.
Nancy Callahan. I have a love-hate for Frank Miller. in that I love what he did in his offset, and it was really cool. And especially love this art style with the white on the black and the very dramatic, the Sin City stuff is great. And it was wonderful. The problem is too many people tried to be Frank Miller afterwards. And it was like a little grit, gives you a pearl, but you give me a beach worth of grit into everything and it gets to be too much.
But look at that's a common thing that happens in comics, though, especially if a comic's successful, you're going to have a half a dozen imitators afterwards.
Yeah.
Look at all the people who tried to draw, all the people out there who've drawn like Kirby, who've drawn like Byrne, who's drawn like Perez. This is just an art style that people were attracted to, that made money, that other people imitate. Jim Lee is the hugest example out there. Look at how many people are Jim Lee imitations out there.
And I totally see that, but I'm not even talking about the art style as much as the after you hit Miller's Batman arcs, his Dark Knight arcs. Batman went from a character who he was in the night, but I am the night, fine. But he got so gritty for a while there, it got almost painful, and then you have the whole arc with him getting his back broken. And I have a few of the issues when Azrael was his version of Batman, and that was just so far in the too much,
Mm-hmm.
And that's my opinion. People can disagree. A lot of people do.
It goes back to the deconstructionism wave that really started with Dark Knight.
Yeah,
it really did. Here's an
what's
interesting character design.
Yeah, I was about to say that is
Legion.
from that looks like it could be a Silver or Golden Age panel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember reading some of these characters back then.
Rage, there's a character that's not around anymore.
Rage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
There's
in
a
New
lot of
Warriors for
characters.
Avengers for a while,
There's
right?
a lot of characters that aren't around anymore.
Shade. That's a
Vertigo
derivative
had some
character.
good stuff back in the day.
Vertigo had
Yeah.
that's where my man Constantine lives. So
Vertigo. Oh, they're doing some weird stuff with Constantine.
Yeah.
Silhouette.
I
don't see
Spore.
anything that's...
You know what? Spore makes me think of my boy Brian Rodman.
Okay, Strife was a good character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes.
Strife was a good character.
Again, Louise Simonson. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm starting to see why
Darkhawk.
a lot of these companies... Darkhawk.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see why a lot of these companies stick to their legacies. Because some of these, they just didn't hit.
That's the Beetle right there.
Right.
That is the Beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Leela
Marvel's
Davis.
version of the Beetle.
Yeah.
Deadpool. Deadpool hit big, man.
It was a slow build.
Wait,
It was.
Marvel has Beetle. It's not the Beetle, it's Beetle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
They just
Claremont.
gender swapped her and changed the costume around a little bit.
Feral.
Now, see, that's a fun character design. Say what
Yeah.
you want. They had fun with it. Not necessarily good, but they
Yeah.
decided to do something different with the quasi-cat chick.
There is
Right.
a video with Stanley used to have a show, and he where he talked comics, and he was on there, and he had Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, and Rob Liefeld, and they all three made a character from scratch, like they do this character.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and and Stan was not impressed. This character looks like something that would come out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just want to take and reshape her hair and drag it down a bit, because like
Yeah.
the amount of Aquanet involved.
It's Wolverine
There's
meets
another-
Bride of Frankenstein there.
So
Yeah.
here's the deal: Neil Gaiman did create a lot of original characters for Sandman,
Yes.
and again, I know there's a lot of people that like him, a lot of people that don't like him. The whole like trans and all that kind of stuff that never bothered me. It still doesn't bother me. I don't care about it. It just doesn't make sense when 100% or any more than 30% of your cast is that, unless you're in a gay community. But at random, everyone showing up is gay or trans. It doesn't make sense.
And Games Master that you have up there, isn't that a derivative of a 70s character? The character that Jeff Goldblum played in the Thor Ragnarok movie.
Yeah,
Isn't that
yeah,
Game
The
Master?
Collector. Yeah.
No, not the Collector. The Collector's a whole different character.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying Games Master was the brother of the Collector. And
Yeah,
they,
there was a whole group of them that were brothers. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
here's a
and
character that's really cool. That
Gauntlet?
should, with people like Jim Lee and Chris Claremont
Mm-hmm.
as part of the creative team behind that character, you'd think they'd have stuck more.
Well, there's some great character design. You're looking at it where you don't know anything about them. You're just like, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I do like Gideon. He was pretty cool. Here's another
And-
Frank Miller character.
Oh, that man
Goldie
could
and
draw.
Wendy. Yeah.
He could draw women. You know what I mean? And just
Yeah. So yeah, there's not really. I think we've hit kind of like the main.
King Snake.
Lady
Lady
Death.
Death. Yes.
Lady Death.
Lady Death. But again, now it's funny. The ones who hit, ironically, are the indie ones.
Mhm.
Or
Right.
the step down. That's the vast majority of them. If it hits, it's either a
And I-
really great creator
And I
or
think.
Well,
I
by this
think-
point, too, the alternative market is springing up so much. The originality is going towards the indies by this point as
Yeah.
well.
right.
And
So-
and I think that kind of brings up kind of a good point, is that really a lot of your, if you see the
Thank you,
top
Sugar
10
Puss.
from DC in the 21st century, it's all derivatives of legacy characters. If you really want something truly new and original, you've got to go with a more indie market.
Yeah.
The best, like a lot of these characters we're talking about, like them, love them, hate them, whatever, we're looking at, it was the 90s with Gaiman and Frank Miller, doing these kind of not necessarily, they were indie, but they were more mainstream than what the independent and the alternative markets are. But you think about Crow, the Crow.
Mm-hmm.
You think about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, being in that list. You think about
I love that. Although Ninja Turtles were originated with an homage to Daredevil.
yeah.
So they're really way out there. I love Turtles. Don't get me wrong, but there's a route there
Yeah.
towards the mainstream.
I think of Keown's Pit from the 90s.
Oh wow! Okay,
Was a great character. And so when you really think about it, a lot of, I think, the most creative, the most boundless characters and stories come from an independent. Oh, we lost Randy. Come from an independent group.
Yeah.
They really do, and I love it. I love that feeling. Those creator-owned books, the COC, if you will, the COC books, are really good. But yeah.
Well, and I think this should be telling for the people, because like I always say, if you don't like my art, do better. What happened is, in the 90s,
I believe Beyonder was part of that family.
I think so. It's been a long time since I thought about the Elders of the Universe, but that's how you get the title. The Doctor. Oh wait, wrong series. Anyway,
Yeah, right.
but you get the gem. New Warriors, yeah.
We've got Marv V here today. Welcome, Marv. Yeah.
But-
So yeah.
The Indies proved it right there in cross section.
We had Lobo. We forgot about Lobo.
Lobo. Oh god. Am I the only one who saw LoboCop?
RoboCop? No, I don't think I've seen that.
Um, somebody, and I think the sad thing is I only saw it in the back of a comic. You know where you're reading, because I read indie stuff, and I
Yeah.
think I was reading a RoboCop comic, and it was like a spin-off with like take RoboCop and make him a lot like Lobo, but with like Rasta hair, and you know what, that might have been what inspired my thing on uh not Mr. Fro, whatever that character's name is.
Yeah.
But where and then he had these hooked chains off of the. It was. I need to find it. It was called
Yeah.
RoboCop. I swear I saw it. It's not a fever dream.
Welcome, Andrew Wyatt. Welcome to the chat today.
We
Welcome
are
to the
looking
Bacon
at
Nation.
the history that proves that independent comics are going to have better creations and have had better creations, at least in the last 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you even think of the legacy characters,
Yeah.
they were birthed out of almost an independence, you know,
Well, that-
and then they merged to mainstream, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
And
Superman was a comic strip.
yeah. And it was a ripoff of Doc Savage. The Man of Bronze. We'll make him the Man of Steel.
Yeah.
And then they just started adding more. Power creep got a hold of Soups and hasn't let go.
Oh, there's a link. RoboCop, the RoboCop parody. I wonder if we can show that without getting a copyright strike.
I don't want to get you in trouble, but I remember seeing that. Like, Luke has to see this. This is one of those that went right across my mind, and I don't. RoboCop and thank you, Frog. Can I snipe that? Oh, I can't. I can.
Trying to pull it up, Frog. Maybe we could watch this together. Sorry for the dead airspace there, guys.
No. We're trying. I'm sorry. I realized I could grab it so I could find it again later. It was just because back when you read the weirder comics, my God, you read 2000 AD. Any of the to this day, don't try to save it. The paper will dissolve. But they had stuff in there and fake ads and just, oh, get your brain neuralizer 2000. Don't like your teacher, bam. Things like that. It just.
Maybe this is it. I think I had to search it. No, that's not it. This is not it.
Look, I want to see because I.
Yeah, that's not it.
It's
I'm
not
trying
a
to find it.
fever. It isn't a fever dream.
Is it a fever dream? Maybe it is. No, I think it is real.
Wow. Well, yeah. Aha. RoboCop #1. Chris on Infinite Earths.
Crisis on Infinite Earths?
No, Chris. It came up Chris, like
Oh.
the name. Chris is on Infinite Earths
Oh,
because it's a heavy parody.
here it is. We found it. Here, I will.
Yes.
We will share this. We'll go ahead and watch this thing.
Well,
Or a little bit of it anyway. So it does
Look
talk
at
about
that.
this just a
Look.
bit.
let me get some in. Look at that character design.
That
right
is
there.
that is fun.
That has stayed with me as you got to be kidding me for whenever this hit. Since 1994, that's been in the back of my mind as you got just diabolically weird, and I love it.
Nice.
You know,
Nice.
oh, look, just
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
And see,
Good
that's
stuff.
I think that's why I don't take a certain breed of comics and stuff. People get passionate. This is how it was and how it should be. I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
it be.
I think about what Don Chen does with his parody stuff, and just the kind of creativity in it and the humor in it. But there's a lot of cool stuff that's coming out these days, and I mean, yeah, I'm a little biased that indie books are kind of where it's at, because I create an indie book, I do one, and it's In fact, I'm just going to talk about it for a second. I'm going to do a little show.
Yeah, please. It's your
because,
show. I've been
because
waiting
here's the
for you.
deal. It's our show. Did you know that? So I'm doing this crowdfund on my website for basically it's a group buy.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is I'm finishing up the last of getting all the pages ready for the remastered first 5 issues. So once I went with Arrow, I've remastered the first 5 issues of Hybrids, the Sons of Gods. And I don't have all of the books ready to do individual floppies because I'm adding backup stories in issues 4 and 5, in issues 3 and 4. No, issues 4 and 5, I think it is. But I don't have the backup stories ready yet, so I can't get those files off to print, But what I can do is I'm compiling them all into the trade paperback that doesn't have those extra backup stories that aren't part of the canon. So I'm only compiling canon. And so we're doing a group buy to pay for the printing. So it takes about 25 people to jump in to get the first round of printing. And so the first people that jump in are going to get a special print. I'm still working on the print, but it's going to be special, and I'm only going to print out for the first 25 people that back it are going to get it. Nobody else. So I'm going to do 25 of these things. And so that's going to be pretty cool that I'm going to send out with the books when I send them out. So I need $500 raised in order to pay for the print run. We're at $300 now. So, and this is I'm not crowdfunding this on Indiegogo or Kickstarter. Dude, I'm doing this solely from my own website. It's from a platform that I've created. But I made a video, so it kind of gives you an idea. And so we'll just play the video real quick and let who's watching be able to see it.
Welcome to Hybrids, the Sons of Gods. The epic remaster of the original Trash Day arc is now being collected in a standard trade paperback. With more story, more art, and behind-the-scenes information, this book is the way creator Luke Stone intended the story to be told. This special Arrow Comics Remastered edition is full of energy and excitement, critically acclaimed and one of independent comics' favourite teen books. You are sure to find yourself lost in this expansive universe. So, secure your copy today in this crowd-funded group buy. Once the funds are collected, the books will be sent off to print and delivered post-haste. Luke and the Arrow Comics team have a perfect record of fulfillment. You can pledge with confidence.
There you go. So I'll just show the website. So if you go to lukestonestudios.com, you're going to be brought to a homepage like this. And you'll be able to know it's mine because I'll have the big logo up there. I know comics. Yeah, there's a bunch of different links here. So you can go to what we've got in demand, sign up for Rift Riders, Hybrids Trade Remaster. So there's a link to it there. And for some reason it's showing the video unavailable because it's actually would be live right now. So the YouTube feed goes into my website. And so I've got information about nerdword.org up there. I've got different feeds from my social media stuff. There's even a calendar of appearances, like stuff that I'll be doing. And so you can see different things there. Now, for some reason, it's showing my date with Bethy on here. So it is populating all of the, probably because I'm using Chrome. I think normally it just only shows, one calendar. But because I have access to these other calendars and I'm signed in, it's showing my other calendars. But it will only show you the public calendar. But you can follow this link up here at the top. So there's 2 links. There's the one down in the body, and then there's also this one up here. So you can just follow that link. And sometimes it will open up at the top, depending on your browser, and sometimes it won't. So if you're on your mobile, it usually opens up at the top. But for some reason, both browsers I use, it doesn't open up in the site. So I actually have a crowdfunding site that I've created. So there's a direct link to the campaign and a crowdfunding site. And so here's what I'm working on. I'm just going to go to the site first because this is kind of cool and people might actually be interested in this. Because what I plan on doing is opening this up for other creators to use. All right, not just myself. So, okay, it left that. So here I've got to stop sharing and let me share the other screen because it opens up in a new window because you want to keep people on your site if at all possible. So
well, yeah, because they might find their way to the RPG Quick Play. I mean, what? No,
what? Yep, exactly. That's what we want.
Hashtag always promote. Anyway,
why is it not showing her? All right, homepage. Sometimes technology just throws a wrench in things, huh?
Yeah, we got hit for we've got $3,000 auto repair looming that we just found out yesterday.
All right, here I'll share it this way.
So yeah, I'm feeling the oh my god.
Here, I'll share it this way. That way I can jump around. So
Jump
from
around.
the website, it does this. So you hit the crowdfund site. It will take you, open up a new window, and it takes you to this page right here. Okay. Now this is going to be branded a little bit different, but it is going to be set up to eventually to where other creators can use this platform. Now, yes, I'm going to gatekeep. Okay. I am going to gatekeep because it's my yard and I keep my gates. I make sure my borders are secure.
Luke,
okay.
May I hazard to say that you may be using the wrong word? The word you're looking for is curate. I'm serious. A curator at a museum decides what comes in, what doesn't, how it's organized, right? That's what it's about. What
Thanks
you're
for
saying is
that endorsement.
you are setting up a curated site of independent creators who hit your high quality standards. And likely you'll have a write-up list saying the standards you're looking for so no one can whine at you later. Saying
Right.
you must be able to draw worth a dang. You must have something called a story. Silly things. Your lettering must be readable. I mean, these are
Yep.
and just if you're setting this up, put that up there as these are my standards. So people can't come at you later.
Yeah.
Because
Now,
you're not gatekeeping. You're not
Yeah,
doing
I'm curating.
politics.
So this is going to become basically a network of people that I know produce the goods and they take care of the customers and they have a certain level of quality attached to them. Because I want people to be like, hey, Luke Stone, because the most important thing you have is your name, right?
Yeah.
So I want people to know that if Luke's name is attached to it, it's quality. So I'm working very hard on that. That means sometimes you hurt some people's feelings along the way. Not meaning to, but because you have to be like, hey, that's not good enough. I just can't, we just can't. Keep working at it, and I'll tell you what needs to be better to get there so you can get to that standard. But, so basically, Hojo wrote the rules. Rule number 3 is uncancelable, right? So we have hashtag uncancelable, and this has the ability where you can start a project from here, okay? So you can actually start the project, but I don't have this. Everything is still in beta, okay? So it's working right now for one campaign, my campaign. Good morning, Aaron. Nice to see you today. My campaign, but what I'm going to do, so there is a feature that I want to add to this platform. And right now I can't do it, so I have to have some development work done. It's going to cost me about $600. So I'm trying to decide if the long-term investment's going to be there. So I'll get to that in a second. But right now, so you can see there's one project up, and I've raised 60%. So I'm going to click on that project. It's going to open this up. Now, this is embedded as a widget in my website, but because how my CSS works, It works on mobile, but it doesn't work on desktops. So I have to figure that out. But let's say, Nick, you create a crowdfunding campaign from this platform that I've created, okay?
Yeah.
And you can go, after you've edited it, you can go into the widget tab, and edit the widget down to colors and stuff like that. So you can deep dive edit that, and then copy the widget and paste it into your HTML, and then the page will show up. But because I have some weird CSS thing that I've done, I'm having trouble pasting that in to just a regular HTML site. It's wanting to, that new page is wanting to use my site CSS, and so it becomes weird and problematic. I'm working on it though. I'm working on it because it's all testing. So I've got 10 backers now.
Well,
but-
you know what? Can we get them up to 12, folks? I'm
Yeah,
not
let's do
asking a
that.
big number. While we're here, we're 2 hours into giving you some of the best free entertainment, and I know I can cash in some points because I've been entertaining today.
You have been, yeah.
You know, let's get him up to 12 back, even if it's just $1. You know,
Yeah.
even if you're just throwing $1 because you love Luke. Let's
Yeah,
try
you
to
can
get
make
him
a
up.
you can make a
Okay.
donation.
Yeah,
Actually,
make a donation.
You can contribute with this button here. Contribute $1. You can actually buy me a coffee with this reward, or you can do that. Now you can increase your pledge with this. So there's a couple things that I've got going with this. Sorry about the dog. Trash truck's coming, and that dog, you know, trash truck is. They're bad guys. I guess you got to bark at them. But you can have the video up here, just like you do. So this, a lot of this is just like normal stuff that you're used to seeing. But then you can put in your photos, and you can build your campaign. I've been very limited with the text because anyone that's coming to my site and looking at this, these are people that have already probably backed me. I understand who my target audience is right now for this. I might pick up a couple of new people, but really what I'm trying to do is get the first bit of books purchased so that I can post them on my website, and I can also list them on cgnow.com. So that way people know it can ship right away. So I'm going to find other means of distributing the book to find new readers. So this isn't really designed for finding new readers right now. But I have, all my, I have some images and stuff in there, and I can edit this and update it whenever I want.
Is there a PDF tier, for lack of a better term?
There is not a PDF tier for this because this is solely to buy the prints. Okay? So this is not necessarily a crowdfunding campaign,
Right.
but a group buy. So it's kind of there's kind of a difference there. But the feature
I'm
now
just-
that I've got,
I'm asking what I feel are the obvious questions.
yeah,
Because if I can beat the chat doesn't have to type. And this is great. This is great, and it needs more promotion than it's getting. We need to do something about this.
yeah.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
If
interrupt.
enough people jump in on this, I'm gonna. Right now it's a paperback, but I'm looking at maybe upgrading it to a hardcover, if enough people jump into it, right? So we've got to raise a lot more than $500 for the first bit of for the first round of books to be hardcover. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's looking like I need to raise more, like like 1,200 or something like that, depending on how many backers we get and all that kind of stuff. So trying to work that out. But right now the plan is that it's as soon as we hit 500, we're going to send off for the printing, and so right now the way I've got it worked out is you can only choose one of these tiers. Okay, and so you choose the tier, and then you back it just as you would. You do have to sign in and give some personal information because I gotta have that information. It takes the money right away, but I've got it set up to where it only counts the contribution amount, not the shipping amount. So when I'm raising the money, well, I know I need $500 for the print run, for the short run print. It's not counting the shipping towards that print, towards that funding. So I actually have so everyone can actually see the real number of what I've actually raised for the printing. But
Right.
the cool thing is all this money goes into an account right away. So
Right.
I get the money and it goes into an account that's set aside straight away. So I don't have to wait 14 days. I don't have to pay any platform fees. I just pay, I pay the fees for the processing stuff, which means as soon as I raise the $500 and I have the print file ready, as soon as those two things happen, which the print file is going to be ready probably next week. I'm working on Chrome Dog pages now, so I need to get the Chrome Dog stuff done before I finish lettering this. So probably next week. And so those two things happen. It goes to print right away, and we start shipping, even though there's still like 40 some days left on the campaign. So you can still be a part of that buy, and I can increase the print number if I need to. So that's how that works. But right now you can only choose one tier. But I don't necessarily want to do that. What I'm wanting to do, and what's going to cost me a $600 fee, around $600 to make happen, is instead of doing multiple tiers, I want to make this like a store where you can pick the individual items that you want. And so if you wanted the digital, you can add the digital, and you could do this. And then I might have like a featured perk where it's a discounted rate for a bundle of things, but you can a la carte the thing where it's like, oh, I want this and this and this, all the stuff that I would be group buying or crowdfunding. You can do that. And so that's the feature that I want to add to this before I open it up for other people to use. And so I'll start by maybe adding the first person and let them test it out, and then I'll add another person to let them test it out before we really get it rolling a lot. So my plan is that if I can raise enough money to get the print, and then I can come up with the investment that I need to add the feature, the shopping cart feature, then I hope to have someone else test a crowdfunding pretty soon, like probably by the end of the year, and maybe sometime next year have everything rolling full on, so that's kind of the idea right now.
Because I was able to hear what you were saying mostly while I had to deal with that deal.
Yeah.
This is incredible. What you're doing is such an opportunity, and I am so excited to see the freedom, because I'm an independent guy. You know what I mean?
We got Pale Rider here. We
Thanks.
got Blue Teddy. Welcome,
Hi, Blue Teddy.
And we got Hex Allen. Welcome.
Because at the end of the month, I will be done with my current book. Welcome back.
What's an Xfinity?
Xfinity.
Oh, I was hoping I didn't somehow tick you off. So,
Comcast. Yeah, you ticked me off, Nicholas.
see, you should have that
You ran
effect
him
on
off.
women. But no, Luke, I am really excited because I know the project that you're working on with a bunch of people
Yeah.
online that's going to be both. I think that's going to be the root of some great titles. I think a lot of great titles are going to be born out of the out of Obscurity project, which I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about.
No, yeah, absolutely. We're talking about it.
Okay, cool.
Full on
Cool.
now. Yeah.
Because we talk about the quality things, and we've talked about legacy characters and public domain characters, and Luke set up something incredible where a whole bunch of independent creators, a lot of first-time guys,
Yeah. Or people that they don't have a lot of publishing credits or, a lot of things on their resume yet. So we're trying to give them something really awesome to put out there to show as a commercial for themselves. But we're using public domain characters that are fairly obscure in some cases.
in some cases.
Yeah, in some cases. But yeah, so it's a cool project. We're going to crowdfund that. We'll probably crowdfund that from the probably the Indiegogo, only because we have we're trying to get people out there
Okay.
you know,
cool.
and seen. But yeah, Nick, the whole idea is to create opportunities for people to be more independent
Right.
and to not, you know, and to save money. So for this platform, anyone that would, once I get this going, that would use my platform, they're not going to have a platform fee. I may be like, hey, it costs this much for me to run this. You know, maybe like a 1% of your funding I'll take outside of processing fees.
Right.
And so what would happen is once they fund, so the fun thing about this is, and since it's all individual, I can work with the individual person and be
Yeah.
like, hey, let's do this. Let's not, let's take this money or not, whatever. We work out individual deals with people because it's people that I'm going to know. It's people that are, that are trying to make their way. And the idea is that they will be able to get the resources faster and save money
Right.
on that so that they can then pass that savings off to the backers, to the fans and the readers. Okay?
Right.
And so, for instance, like if you back this today, it's $25 plus $10 shipping. $10 shipping for a trade paperback is 140 pages. That's about average. That's a reasonable price because
Yeah.
you're getting it packed in Gemini mailer. It's bagged and boarded. There's going to be some extras in there because I always throw in extras. So there's going to be some extra stuff in there for you to enjoy as well. Stuff I'm not even advertising because I like to take care of my people. And so you're getting all of that. But when you pay that $35 today, it goes into an account. So it goes into my processing account. And in 2 days, it leaves that account minus the processing fees. So from the $35, I get $33 and some change. Okay? That's why we have to make it to $35. That way it's paying for the book and the printing. And so all that fees there. All right? So that allows me to spend extra money to, if we can get enough money, to upgrade to a hardback or this or that. So that's because I've saved money not using somebody else's platform. Either platform charges about 5%. Okay? So there's a 5% fee that the platform takes. There's no platform fee. Now I am paying for some hosting and stuff, but that's all part of doing business, really. And but so if someone else would use this, that money, like I said, goes into a special account. As soon as I hit $500, I can then send off to get the print done and ship. So as soon as I hit the funding total, which again, that $300 is based on the contributions outside of shipping. It doesn't count the shipping total. So that's what people have contributed, not including shipping. Not like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, where the total includes what they contributed plus the shipping. So you get a weird number, a skewed number. So I know I need $500 to cover the print run, and it's going to raise $500, right? So as soon as I hit that $500, that money's in an account, I can go right away to print. And as soon as it prints, I can ship. So it's a much faster process. It frees up the funds. So let's say I'm actually crowdfunding something to be produced. So like the instance of we've got Rift Riders that's on Indiegogo right now in sign up. When we crowdfund for Rift Riders, that book isn't finished. We have to raise the money to pay the creative team because we're paying, I think his name's John Dillard. It's Dillard from Dillard Draws. So Dillard is doing the art. We've got a colorist. I'm lettering, but we got to pay for all that production plus the printing. And so we're crowdfunding it to pay for those things, right? But here's the cool thing with my platform. If I were to run that not on Indiegogo and I were to run it on my platform, I get that money from the contributions right away. So if I set it up as a flexible goal that says I'm going to make the book no matter what, and there's not going to be any refunds.
Night Frog.
Good night, Frog. I can start paying the artist right away. I don't have to wait until the end of the campaign, 60 days. You know, I don't have to wait until that money comes in from the platform. Right away, I'm getting the money, I can start paying. And we can set up, once I get the features the way I want it, I can set up for you or Randy or anybody to do the same thing. That you guys get the money when you need it. So it actually gives you more creative freedom to run your business and to build your brand. So that is the idea behind this. And you can set the date, the length of your campaign for as long or as short as you want. You're not maxed out at 60 days. If you feel like, hey, this is going to be a slow burn and I'm going to run this thing for 120 because I know what I want to run this campaign, you can run it that long. It's like going in demand.
Yeah. That's what
And at the end, you can actually extend it if you want to. So there's all those features. It's just not called in demand. It's not called, some of the stuff that we look at now. It wouldn't be add-ons, your tiers. The way I want to set it up is to where it's store items. So it's like if you want issue, let's say you've got back issues. You want issue 1, 2, 3. You can add everything a la carte and build your own tiers, right? But then you can create like, okay, well, this is a special tier. This is discounted. I can't do secret tiers yet. I haven't quite figured out how to do that. But I don't know that is that important, because I can make it to where you can go in and edit your stuff and take away a tier once you want it to go away, or you can set the tier to only show for certain amounts of time. So there's a lot of options to it. There's a lot of ways that pardon me, this could be useful. And so I'm promoting this trade paperback that I am doing the print run for, crowdfunding it on my own. But if this works, guys, this is the beginning of something bigger for my circle. I want to take care of the people in my pond, Yeah. And this is a way to do that and to add that option, because people are getting. What really sparked me is that people were getting their funds withheld.
Yeah.
For various different reasons, and there's cloned campaigns on these other platforms, and all kinds of issues going on with that. And there's cancel culture and personal vendettas and politics coming into play with these things. Well, none of that happens on this platform. And this is not using a Shopify cart. This is using a secured platform. So I'm paying extra money monthly to have this in a secured platform. Okay? That we can plug this in to our website directly how it is. And so, I'm excited about it. I don't know if anybody else is or not. But I think this could be a great way to.
It's real easy. I'm listening to this, right, and I'm listening to what you're doing, and I'm thinking that in about 2 weeks I have my deadline for my book that I'm working right on, The Simple Spirit, and then I want to deep dive writing up the script to send to you for Paul Bunyan, Kaiju Hunter or Kaiju Slayer. I use them both. I haven't nailed that down, but I would love to see that project as something up on here.
I think it would be great to do that, because I do want to test more things on it.
And just as a test for it, I'd like to see you do some very low cost PDF tiers. I'm using tier because I'm so used to the language, but options of sample books like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So we put out the paperback, we get it out there, people get it in their hands, it's wonderful, and then 6 months down the line, or whenever you release the PDF at a very low cost, because it's literally like picking up. I mean, what you're working on could be in its own way, almost like the previews for creator-owned comics.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's
And
a way to do that.
I think that's a great. It's a great concept. It's a great angle, and I'd rather see people. We need to resurrect the internet. It's not just
Well, dude, this is our
Facebook,
marketplace
Twitter.
right now.
Yeah,
This is our storefront these days. This is where more people are buying online than ever before. Amazon is so popular.
That's why my book's published through the Zon. I catch flack, but there's no way I'd be able to sell to Australia or Belgium or
Now,
Indonesia.
once a book has been printed, it goes to this part of my site. Okay, so once it's once I have physicals in hand, I post it up here, and I do a physical and a digital tier. Okay, and I charge $7 for a physical with I believe it's $3 shipping. Okay, I'm only charge $3. I'm actually taking a hit on shipping on these, I think, because Media Mail is now like $3 something. It's $3 something. But I buy my media mailers and all that in bulk, so I've got wiggle room because I can sell. Because Zim knows I've worked out to where I can get my pricing to be able to sell at a high discount to retailers.
Yeah.
So I've worked out my pricing to where I can have some wiggle room with it. But it goes on here, and then most of my stuff, so physicals are 7 and digitals are 4. And I've discounted my digitals to 3 right now. And Hybrids Physical number 1 is discounted to 5 from my site. Now you say, well, Luke, why are you selling them cheaper from your site than what you sell on the crowdfunding platforms? Again, it goes back to the platform fees. Platform fee they take money from me, which means I have to take more money from you. But if I can get you on my site, exactly like my crowdfunding platform, it goes to the same account that this goes to, and what you're looking at, that goes to. And so the only difference between my crowdfunding on that secured site and my orders is that the crowdfunding is not printed yet. It's not funded yet. Once it's there, then it moves to this part of the site. And then I've got other stores on my site. So one of the things, you can go right now to get the role-playing game, the Quick Play, on my site for $15. Now, I don't discount that because Nick sells it for $15 too. And I am not going to undersell my partner on this book. Not going to happen. Not going to happen.
I do appreciate that.
Which I've had partners do that to me.
No.
Like, as I was publishing them, and I was selling their book for the price point they said, and on their website they discounted it so that people would bypass the publisher and go to their website to buy it cheaper. I'm not going to do that. So if Nick says, hey, I want to run a sale, then we're both going to run the sale. Okay? Like,
Now,
if I say I want to run a sale, then he has to agree I'm going to sell it for that price too. Or I say, Nick, you run the sale, I'll keep mine at the same price.
See,
that way they go buy yours.
Because there's no shipping. When people buy it from me, I'm not mailing it out right now, largely because the town I'm in has no mail. You don't want to understand how bad their mail is. So if you needed to go cheaper to offset that, there's no problem. Further, once the core rule book hits, because I know I've done my part on that, it looks good. And
we're still doing editing, so once all the editing is done, I'm doing it in sections for the fit and finish.
Right.
But it's been a little hectic here, so my editor has been a little preoccupied. But we'll get that done. That is going to crowdfund this year. Right.
Well, what I was going to say is I have no problem with, once the main book is out, a digital edition of the Quick Play
Absolutely.
at a very low cost going out because I want people to play this game, because this is a hub. Just like your site is a hub, the game is a hub for a lot of awesomeness. Hi, buddy.
Nick's post office still employs the Pony Express. That's why.
Yeah, and they don't use ponies. They're all on drunken donkeys. It's a pain in the butt. They get lost, and then the corn sharks take them.
Yeah. So the way I have this set up is like here. You can go to this and you can purchase. And it goes to my store like this. And you can do the email and all that kind of stuff, shipping payment.
Okay.
You're not in trouble, but I can't do that right now, buddy.
So, but then you can go back. I still need to work on the store feature for this a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can go in. Now I also have things that are print on demand. So you can buy all this merch, but it ships from my fulfillment warehouse. I pay for I use a service to do this. So you can get all of these cool things with that. But one of the things that's added there is, you talked earlier, we talked about gaming and how, people can bootleg their miniatures and stuff like that. I'm saying don't bootleg it. Buy the STL file for me.
Yeah.
And you can print off the bust, man.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna do that with the statues, and I'm even gonna do that with the action figure. I'm gonna sell the STL file.
Yeah.
So you can print it yourself.
That's the fair way to go. And yeah, there will be people who will resell it, and there will be shadiness. That always happens. But if you give people, I think, a fair option, the vast majority of people will take the fair option. And it's like, being the guy I am, I'm looking forward to seeing all the main characters in, traditional miniature scale. As being able to order all the guys and their STL files of them as miniatures.
Here's the cool thing that I've done with my store. Okay, so there's not a continue shopping button. You just hit back. So if you want to go back to the store and add other things, you just hit the back button, and the store saves it in your bucket. Okay, unless you close the website and open it back up, but it saves it. Okay, but if you notice here, once you start putting in shipping information, standard shipping is $6.25 for these two items. Okay, so it's going
That's a good deal.
It's going by weight on some of these, and so it adds the discount for some of those things. So instead of a whole bunch of cost, and so I just added 2 items. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna add another item. Let me go ahead and add this physical item. So I'll add that, and so now that's added in, and then it's always going to ask you. You're going to have to keep putting that email back in. I can't seem to make it not do that. So $7.50 now for 3 items. So instead of paying the $3 a book for shipping, it's discounted. It discounts as you go. So the more items you get, generally the cheaper it's going to be. But let's do this. I'm going to add a digital. So here's the cool thing about the digital files. It will actually send you the PDF in your email, the receipt. So you don't have to ask me it sends you a link to the PDF. But as you can see, I'm using an email that is no longer in existence, so it's fine. I'm not doxing it. You see the digital didn't add any shipping. So the shipping stayed the same. So you can do physical and digital. You can even go in and add, you can even go to let's just go to Nerd Bacon and let's add the crispy bacon mug. So we're going to purchase the mug. You got to select the size. Comes in 11 ounce and a 15 ounce. And let's be honest, 11 ounces is not enough coffee. Nope. 15 ounces of coffee is the only way to go. So you add that to the store, and now you've got stuff that I ship and stuff that ships from the fulfillment house. So that's how the store works. It's discounted. It's all secure. It all uses Stripe. You can Apple Pay. You can use any of the platforms that you want to pay. And so what I've tried to do with the crowdfunding site is to use that same engine, but to make it usable for not just me, because anything I build for myself, I try to build for other people. That's kind of my game. And so I want to make it work for me, but I also want to make it work for other people. Because at the end of the day, I want all the Arrow books to be able to use the platform if they so wish. I want, people that are in my circle to be able to use it if they want, So that's kind of the idea, kind of the plan with what we're doing. So in the meantime, please go back this. I'll just go ahead and throw the link in the comments in the chat. See, come right over here and Command V. So, just something I wanted to share this morning, talking about the independent market and some ways, the way I'm trying to help kind of build that market and build the opportunities for creativity. Because here's the thing, some of the distribution is always going to be an issue. Capital is always going to be an issue for creating. Those are two things that you got to have. Whether you're a publisher that publishes other people, or whether you are a self-published individual, those are the two things you got to have. I think it's funny how many people call themselves a publisher, try to publish other books. They don't have distribution and they don't have capital. My friends, you're not really a publisher, because those two things, that's what we have to work towards. Those are the two things we have to build. And so if you are calling yourself a publisher, you got to do those two things. Well, here's the deal. We know those two things are very difficult to obtain. If they were easy to obtain, everybody would have it. That's why Indiegogo and Kickstarter have been so popular. That's why they have transformed from angel investors to pre-orders, because that is our distribution and our capital in one platform. But the problem is when you are dependent on somebody else's platform for your capital and your distribution, you're putting yourself at
their mercy.
Yes, and that's what's happened with Diamond.
Yeah.
That's what happened with the Diamond issue.
Well, that's why we always have to be careful going on relying on any one platform or one service. As publishers, we have to go out there and find as many different side hustles, I guess you would say, or income sources as we possibly can.
Absolutely.
Because who knows, the next virus might spring up tomorrow and Diamond could shut down completely and comics are in haphazard again. Kickstarter could decide or Indiegogo could decide they no longer want to carry comics, and where's the market?
Yeah. Or those platforms could vanish.
And you better be ready for that. YouTube tomorrow could decide no more comic book videos.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, and we're done.
Yeah.
So you have to be out there and in as many different areas as possible.
I mean, that's why we're broadcasting today on 3 Facebook pages.
Yeah.
My YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Because you've got to get your brand out there as best you can.
You should probably start a BitChute and Rumble page too. I've been thinking about doing both of those.
Yeah, probably.
Just to have those boxes, have that exposure covered.
Yeah, and that's why I've been sharing StreamYard with a couple of my buddies over on Twitter, so that we can share each other's audiences, to help each other grow. And again, that's what this is all about. Like I said, if I'm building for me, I'm building for you too,
right?
Because it's I could
It's
do
the
it on my
pastor
own,
mentality. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, the horrible thing about being a helpful person is it gets into all the aspects of your life, whether you intend it or not.
Yeah, but we have to find other ways to distribute and to raise capital. Like, we can't be dependent on just one outlet.
No.
We have to find ways to do it. But here's the one thing that's always bothered me: keeping something in demand and some creators do this, they will lower the cost once the book's been printed and it's finished for anyone that backs. They'll get like a tier that they don't get all the extras.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that. But the problem is, it still has to be higher because the platform fees. And it's still on a platform. You're still dependent on Indiegogo if you're in demand.
Yeah.
You're still dependent on eBay or Amazon.
Yep.
I just don't want to have to be dependent on those people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to run my business. Even if my stuff goes down, I can still run my business because it's going to be on somebody else's. Like I do have, I want to be everywhere so that I'm not only able to keep my business going, but I'm also reaching more people because there's some people that just refuse to use other platforms. And right now, Kickstarter and Indiegogo, they've become, people have politicized them and polarized them. You know, to where, oh, well, that's these people, and oh, that's these people.
Right.
Well, you know what? Nobody can politicize my own platform. It is what
Well, you
it is.
do. You'll do that yourself.
I'll do that myself. Yeah, I'll do that myself. Yeah.
Uh,
You know, I told someone the other day, it's like, you know, it's like, I don't know why you blocked that guy. I'm like, there's really only one reason why I blocked someone. It's because they were a jerk.
Yeah.
And they were a big enough jerk for me to block them. So if they got blocked, they earned that block. You know.
just as
So-
the banhammer, long may it swing.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. So it's like, you know, so yeah, you can say what you want about my platform, but you know, politics aside, I mean, no one can shut me down because of my politics. You can decide not to buy because you like me or dislike me or because you don't like my product. Or you can buy because you like my product or you like me or whatever. But the point is, I'm going to move forward and be able to have it self-contained. I think it would be great that if in the future all of my crowdfunding takes place from my own platform. That would be ideal for me. We're starting with $500, so check it out,
Well,
guys.
And that's what matters.
Yeah.
That's why this project matters. That's why what you're doing matters. And the thing is, all the money isn't. I say this when I talk about independent people, and I will always say this. I say shop small, because the money isn't going to a bunch of middle management and a bunch of other people and some CEO who probably has no idea what's going on than how to make money. The money's going to Luke to help him find a place or to fix this.
Yeah.
The money that comes to me right now is going to the fund to fix my car.
Yeah.
Or, you know, you saw me have to stop the show because I'm taking care of my son. To take care of my son, you know, that's where the money goes. You know where it goes. And the idea of Luke setting up this storefront service thing where people can put out, and you don't have to worry about the whole being canceled, because I've been watching people get
Thanks,
dropped, and it's genuinely scary as a creator. I have people tell me, Nick, you can't be you got to be careful what you say when you're talking to Luke and you're on these shows, because you'll get canceled.
You'll get
And
deplatformed.
You'll get deplatformed, and literally, and I've had it, and you have to understand, I've been canceled in other groups and cut off from other groups for that kind of stuff in real life. You know what I mean? So it can happen, and to see it happen like we started with the show with Blaine and some other people, wow, you know, it doesn't matter because there's no quality to it. It's all about who can get the bigger kill. It really feels like some people are treating canceling like a video game.
Yeah.
And yeah, Randy made some great points. I'm on YouTube. I live in fear of them deciding my historical fencing guild is too violent or too weapons based, even though it's really not.
Mm-hmm.
Because I watched my numbers get cut, and every time that there's something that affects Second Amendment rights or somebody talks about it, my numbers get cut. I watch it happen. So having a place that's yours, even if you don't make the kind of money you would make. You're not going, oh, I could make more money if I were on Indiegogo. You're going, or Kickstarter or wherever. You're going, I could make no money if they cut me off.
Right.
And that's why you always, I tell people, you want to be able to step back a level. You don't want to. You never want to, but you never, like, I'll never sell my comb binder. If Amazon went down, heck, if the internet went down, as long as I could manually, I have access to my files and I can print off my books, I'd be hand collating them like I used to, going to shows with, a bunch of printer paper books with cardstock covers, going from the ground up again, because I've done it before. How that mentality and building a bomb shelter, because that's really what this is.
Mm-hmm.
This is a bomb shelter. This is a fallback if the world gets stupid. And I'm all about that. I am huge into preparedness. Not crazy, wearing camouflage everywhere preparedness, but actually like, hey, make sure there's enough food in your house in case, you get snowed in.
Yeah.
And it's the same mentality.
Yeah, and it's about that as much as it is about keeping more money in my pocket and saving money for my customers, for my backers. I've done some investment for my YouTube and my Twitter. I have hired people that are skilled at growing those platforms with SEO, they've got connections for mailing list. They are managing those two platforms to have them grow. So I'm not very skilled in that stuff. What I'm skilled at is talking for a couple hours on a Thursday morning about comic books, and other things. But, with the content on my channel, I'm able to reach 3 or 4 different audiences. So the Christian audience, the comic audience, the libertarian audience, and some music audience, people that are kind of into those things. So I've got 4 different audiences that I can reach with my content. And so I hired someone and said, look, I've got 4 different audiences. Help me find them. Because I know they're out there. You've got a guy like Eric July on two premises, being a libertarian, outspoken libertarian, and pop culture stuff, who's gotten 400,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so the investment that I'm spending, it's a lot, especially comparatively speaking to what I have, but it's long-term investment so that I'm keeping more money in my pocket later. The YouTube channel is so that I can sell the product. It's so that I can get those people to my mailing list so that I can sell the product. And ultimately I want to sell the product from my own store so that I can keep more of the money and save them money. Because there's no point in being dependent on those platforms. And it's a distribution avenue. A lot of people do sell comic books on YouTube these days. They sell a lot of stuff on YouTube. More people probably watch YouTube than they watch Netflix.
Yeah, they just do. That's why YouTube keeps adding commercials and adding, and trying to make it a premium service, because they realize it's it's where people are going.
Right.
Now, that being said, I find myself really looking for because what happens is there's in any social media, and if you treat YouTube like a social media site, because that's more what it's become. There's a rise, a plateau, and a fall.
Yeah.
And YouTube has been rising for a long time, and they're right now, aside from Twitch, maybe the only game in town, because they're the ones who theoretically reward their creators.
Yeah.
But they're starting to make the same mistakes that the other networks that don't do, where they're making it harder and harder to monetize. So the IP creators, us, aren't going to get the money. So it's a good time to start.
Let's put it this way. Once I start finding the audience on Twitch, they're going to have a lot of content. Because
Yeah.
for like the last several weeks, we've been streaming to Twitch as well. you
Yeah.
know? So it's been going out there, and I think that's you've got to use every tool at your disposal to get yourself out there. And I think that's my encouragement to the folks that are watching right now live and in playback.
Yeah.
This channel has a lot of new subscribers. I mean, a lot. The lady I pay to do my marketing, she delivers on what she's promised. And it took a while for it to start hitting, but when it hit, it started to roll in like crazy. Now it's up to me to create the content for them, and to get that job done. But so for all of the new subscribers out there, I hope that you will not just subscribe, but ring the bell so that you know when we're
Yes.
doing things like this.
And please, furthermore, both any of us, all three of us here, if you're on our show, if you're watching it live, especially or after, you put a comment in. If you like something, let us know. We will do more of what you like because we're trying to serve the community.
Yeah.
That's I've got a whole channel just dedicated basically to me teaching people how to sword fight and talking about that.
Yeah.
We are out here trying to serve the creatives who want, it's not just the customers. It's about the people trying to make it, to learn how.
Yeah.
If you look through our chat, almost everybody in the chat today has a book out somewhere.
Or are working on a book, yeah.
They are
Incredibly talented people.
It's a very industry heavy chat. So if you're the new person trying to come in, this is a great place to get your feet wet.
Yeah.
And share it to the people, because that's what we want to do. We want to help independent creators get their independence, stay independent, succeed. And if Luke makes money doing it, or I make a little bit of money doing it, that's great. And Zim's been a force in the Midwest comic scene forever. He doesn't need to do these kind of shows, but he's out here doing it because it's as much as maintaining the history and the value of the stories that have made us who we are.
Yeah.
So please, folks, if you're watching this, please support, because this is what a real labor of love looks like. There's real labor, there's real love, and that's rare. You're not seeing the polished, sanitized, focused group. This is a commercial made to appeal to this. These are real people putting their real stuff out. And if you're a real person looking for that genuineness, that's what we have more than anything else.
The truth
It's
is, we do
genuine.
complain a little bit. I won't lie. We do complain a little bit. But we also make. So we complain, but we make. So, we got stuff. And this is just me. This is just me. We make. Look, we make. Here. Here's a good one. We make.
Yeah.
We make. And it's okay to complain, but also make. You can criticize because you're a fan and you're you feel disenfranchised by this stuff. But let's be honest. You got to make too. And so you build up more than you tear down. You leave the woodpile higher than you found it. And I think the sad part, we opened up talking about the cancellations or people trying to be canceled. These are people that contributed in a Blaine contributed.
Legend. Yeah, literally legendary. And we're talking world builders.
Yeah.
I would put Blaine's writing and creation right up there with JMS and Gene Roddenberry and Lucas for making incredible worlds that we love to live in different ways. I'm not subtle about that. And
Right.
to have a short-term burn on something like that when they're so powerful and they're doing so much, I find it disgusting. I'm having to really rein in my how dare you grader rants, because like y'all, this could have gone way spicier, and I'm trying not to go there.
Dude, you get it's like almost every week you get a little spicy.
You bring it out in me. You really do bring
I
out
know,
the spice
yeah.
in me, and these subjects, because it's like, well, we were going to talk about what came out new since the '90s. 30
Not
years
much.
ago. 30 years ago, and I'm going in the mainstream and in the big two. We had maybe 24 characters total that they were willing to reference, and I'd say 20 of them, something like that, were just straight up legacy characters.
Yeah.
A couple others were basic offs. I mean, that mattered, that anyone could identify.
Yeah. So today I'm going to be doing a bunch of unboxings. I'm going to film every last one of them.
Well, yeah.
There's
Free
going to be
content.
unboxings and reviews, okay? The review is going to be on the shipping and the product quality, like the actual physical product. I'm not going to review the content because that's all subjective, right?
Yeah.
But they're all independent books
Yeah.
by independent creators, right? Creator-owned stuff. And so I'm going to film them all, and then I'm going to chop it up, and I will have them released every few days.
Yeah.
It's content for me, but to put eyes on what these people are doing, because one of the things that I hear people say is that independent or creator-owned books like this, they don't get shipped well, they aren't high-quality products. I'm telling you what, these Arrow books that we had printed up, and even the ones that are printed up post-Liberty, right? Mm-hmm. Same quality. Good paper on the inside, nice solid cover on the outside, high quality print. The art files that go inside of it are good art files. We're not skimping on that. Randy's been doing comic books for how many years, Randy?
Longer than most people have been alive. Yes. Anyway,
You started like in the 70s?
85, 84, 85.
84, 85.
Okay.
I was 4 or 5 years old when you started making comics.
There you go.
I mean, honestly, for me, to
Back
look
then
at
we
like,
drew on paper. They took it.
Yeah.
We took it to the printer and they shot it on film. They turned
Right.
it into plates. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a different life now, but the quality is there. What we know is there, right?
Yeah.
So, we're taking your knowledge, your expertise. We're, we've combined it with, new methods, and we're, people are out there making great comics, man. And so what I want to do is I want to spotlight some of those, and there's a few of them probably that aren't going to be so good, and maybe, and I'll release those videos too, and maybe they.
Well, you got to be
maybe
honest
they'll take
about
a
it.
little egg on their face, Fix it.
I review
Fix it
weapon
now.
trainers. I've had to take a weapon trainer that I thought I loved and absolutely bounce it. Just say, this was great till I used it once.
Right. Okay.
And it kind of broke my heart because I don't like to put out a lot of negativity. I can get passionate, but I don't like to put out this just sucks. But sometimes you have to, and that integrity is something that we need because there are so many reviewers out there who sell positive reviews.
Yeah.
You're going to go on this channel and they're going to tell you every comic that they show is awesome.
Then there's also people that show every review that they hate. They find something negative all the time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
it's whichever side people are catering to, and I have this crazy idea: cater to the truth, and I know you'll do that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, showing off some of these books. Man, I got a pile of them. Some of these books have been out for a while too, and I haven't opened them because I was sick.
Yeah.
I was in the hospital, so we're gonna get to those today. I'm gonna open them today.
It's going to be like
Think that-
Christmas at the Stone household. Let's be honest.
It is. I'm gonna try to figure out which one I'm gonna read first. It's gonna be the case. But man, we've been at this 3 hours. I think it's time to call it quits. I want to appreciate the chat for being with us today and sticking with us. all this time. And
we've got some people who have start to finish.
Some of you have been with us start to finish. We really appreciate it. Please like, subscribe, let people know about the show. On Tuesday nights, I do a thing called Nerd Cap. It's an hour long, so it's a third of what we do here. It is an hour long. We have a subject that we discuss, and then we talk about what's new with comics. And then that's pretty good. And then tonight I'm doing a Christians Making Comics with Brainy Pixel Productions, talking about making entertainment, quality entertainment, specifically for a Christian audience, and kind of what challenges that presents for them. And so we'll be talking about that and the different things that they are doing. So tune into that. That's at 9 p.m. tonight. And then we have other shows that air on this channel. I've paid to help grow the channel, so I'm sharing that. If I build it for me, I'm building it for you too. So I'm definitely sharing those views and sharing that opportunity to get in front of that audience as best we can. So thank you again for being here. Consider becoming a channel member or becoming a patron on Patreon. There's a lot of different ways that you can support, but more than anything, I would love it if you head over to my website and back the crowdfund I'm running right now, and sign up for Rift Riders, because that's going to be one heck of a ride. It's going to be a fun book. You are not going to want to miss out on that one. And Blue Teddy says, thanks for the stream, guys. Have a lovely day, everyone. And yes, have a lovely day, everyone. Zim, do you have anything you want to say before we head out?
If you want to catch me, I'll be Sunday morning. We do a podcast over on the Raging 2 network called Sunday Funnies, where we talk about the fun and more lighthearted side of comics. We try to do a upbeat and positive show that sometimes wanders. Glenn's a regular on that show as well.
So upbeat and positive is hard. No, I'm kidding. Love you, Glenn.
Sometimes it wanders all over, but it's always a good discussion over there, and we're archived over at the Raging 2 network if you want to listen to some of our past shows there. Then I also do Zimcast on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. over on Raging 2 and on my Facebook page. You can always reach me on my Facebook page or thezimcast@gmail.com. So,
yeah.
And then, keep your eyes peeled for Arrow Comics, because we're getting things straightened around finally, and we're going to start rolling forward. And there's lots of new products already in the pipeline waiting to be announced.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when you're not in the hospital sick, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
And just getting around, getting coordinated, and getting our feet back planted and rebuilding, starting to look at that foundation to build up from. And it's going to be like I told Luke off camera, if everybody comes through, it's going to be a hell of a company. It'll be
it is.
It's going to be really good, really big, really fast. So we'll see how that goes.
Excited about it.
And
Nick,
now 200% more grifter free. Anyway.
Really.
Yes.
Doesn't say that the increase doesn't scare me very often. This is starting to get scary.
Yeah.
But it's all in a good way.
Yeah, good. You deserve it. You put it. You more than nearly anybody. You've put in the hours.
Yeah.
I mean.
And in the meantime, I'm still watch for my sign-up page for my COVID book. It's coming.
Yeah.
So my life under the protocols with COVID is what I'm calling it. So.
Yeah, the protocols that almost killed us.
Almost killed us.
Yep.
We ain't dead yet. We're still here. I'm going to get a T-shirt that says "I'm still here."
Yeah.
It's a
to much. Yeah. To
Oh
much
yeah, I
people's
get it.
dismay. Nick, do you got anything for us?
Yeah. First off, I will be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. I'm on Nevermind the Furthermore on the Nicholas Tucker YouTube channel, where I get a bunch of artists, authors, and we talk about whatever anybody's doing, whatever's on our mind, try to promote, try to be positive. I'm actually less spicy on that show. Luke brings out the spice. It's really funny.
I do.
Although I get a good rant going. When I get a good rant going, brother love comes out of me, and I have to not bang the table and shake.
Can we take an offering?
Yeah, can we get some love here? Buy these comics for criminity's sake. Anyway, but you'll find me tonight at 8 p.m. on the Historical Fencing Guild channel. We'll be talking about sword fighting and how to make your own gear, how to adapt if you have physical limitations, things like that. I have a bunch of books out on Amazon, including The Simple Sword and The Fighting Axe, if you want to learn how to use these. The Simple Spear will be done in 2 weeks maximum. The Big Stompy Robots line of books and games is also available through there. I want to get to do some new stuff, and I will hopefully be in Out of Obscurity, featuring my Luke taking a swing at my crazy IP Paul Bunyan Kaiju Slayer, where cryptids, kaiju, and a few other things are going to bump into tall tale heroes that have been warped through my mind, God help us all, and let loose on an unsuspecting world.
Yeah, be looking for from Out of Obscurity, the anthology. We were starting out, it was going to be 40 pages. It looks now it's going to be 100 pages probably.
Just blow that
So,
puppy up.
Yeah, it's going to be. I mean, I'm telling you guys,
Make it big.
you're gonna have a book. You're gonna have a book, and it's all going through. It's all going through my filter. So
Should do what we did with Revolt book, and that is the higher the pledge count goes, the higher the page count goes.
Basically.
yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, just keep
Yeah.
blowing it up. Who
Yeah,
cares?
it's
if it's
gonna be
250
massive.
pages, just bind it and put it out.
Yeah,
it'd be
it's going to
great.
be massive, and I'm looking forward to it.
Cool.
And it might be something that turns out to be reoccurring. You know, we may this may, depending on its success, it may turn out to be something that we do
Yeah,
long term. You know, we might do one every year.
yeah.
You know, to help rise the tide.
Yeah.
You know, if we can
Help
you know.
rise the tide, man. And support Brian K. Morris over at
Brian K.
RisingTide.com.
Morris.
I'm sorry, that was just
One heck of an editor.
Yeah, he is one heck of an editor. You know, he international editor.
Never mind that he can write.
Oh, yeah, never mind. No, but I mean,
Yeah,
I've seen him look at books and typos just come shooting out the sides. It's freaky.
I know. It's like it's a superpower.
Yep.
All right, so everybody, thanks for tuning in today. Remember, try to build up more than you tear down. Leave the wood pile a little bit higher than you found it. And Nick,
Let's be careful out there.
let's be careful out there.
And then
Let's be careful out there. Let's be careful out there. We had a 187 at the 7-Eleven on the corner of 4th and Main. 2 Caucasians of the male persuasion put a bullet through the cashier's brain. Moving on, I see a 211, half a dozen 459, 218 double user GTA, several miscellaneous crimes.